podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte. Yes, it is. And this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Network's how many stations? I think you remember, 200, coast to coast, all over the country. And, of course, right now in your ear. This is episode 1717. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast comes to you from TWiT's LastPass studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees LastPass? Can ensure they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether employees are working in the office or remotely. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. This episode of the Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Adobe Sign. Business needs to keep moving, whether people are working together or apart. With Adobe Sign, working remotely actually works. Learn more about what Adobe Sign can do for your business at adobe.com/businessmoves. And by SimpliSafe. There are a lot of options out there, but SimpliSafe is a no-brainer. Get simple, professional monitoring day and night. Go to simplisafe.com/twit and get free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, augmented reality, Samsung Galaxy Note phones. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. 888-827-5536. I mentioned that because it's a call-in show. I don't just talk for 3 hours. I could. I might. Someday I will. But right now, I want you to call me. How about that? 8888 Ask Leo. That's toll-free. For anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you could still call, but you got to use Skype out or something like that to let you call a phone number. Then it still should be free. Still shouldn't cost you anything. 8888 Ask Leo. There is a website. If you hear something on the show and you go, what was that? I got to write that down. That's brilliant. This does not happen. But if it did, if it sometime by accident, I should say something that you wish to keep, okay, we'll make it available for you at the website, which is techguylabs.com. Techguylabs.com. Let's see, what else? What else should I tell you about? Well, they did it. I didn't think they'd do it, but they did it. They didn't quite do it, but they kind of sort of did it. I'm talking about TikTok. By the way, this is the best thing that ever happened to TikTok because I bet you quite a few people did like me. I'd been on TikTok before, but I hadn't paid that much attention to it. So when the president said, we're going to ban it, I went out and downloaded it. Of course, I bet a lot of people did because, what if it's banned? Then I won't be able to get it. So I got it. Started watching it. 3 hours later, wow, this thing's fun. This thing's not so bad. You know what? I'm going to even go a little farther. I would say this thing is a wonderful, creative new medium. And all you have to do is compare it to Quibi. Quibi, you remember Quibi. A few months ago, Quibi was launched with great fanfare. Hollywood's answer to YouTube and the short video. Quibi was created by Jeffrey Katzenberg, who has a great long lineage in the movie-making business. He's, former Disney. He was at SKG, Spielberg, Katzenberg, Geffen. His partner in this was Meg Whitman, former CEO at HP. She knows the tech. He knows Hollywood. He knows the creatives. They raised almost $2 billion in venture capital to create this short-form app that was going to take the world by storm. They put it out in January, February, maybe it was March. I think March, maybe April. Could be April. And millions of downloads because you got the first 3 months free. Lots of interesting shows. Big movie stars, big stars. Anna Kendrick and, big stars. Some other people I can't remember. Because you know what? It wasn't that memorable. 7-minute videos, lots of ads. You could pay to get rid of the ads, but, you know, who's going to do that? And then, you know, you could turn it sideways on your phone, but you couldn't put it on your TV. You could put it on your computer. You could only watch it on your phone. And 3 months in, after the 3-month trial period expired, only 72,000 people subscribed. Ooh, not me. I canceled. I said, no, don't charge me for this. I'm not going to ever watch it again. I even deleted the app. So that's Hollywood's idea of the short video. It's the Hollywood model. You spend lots of money. You get big stars, big writers, and make the best quality productions you can. But you make it short because the kids, short attention span. They can't watch anything very long. Make it 7 minutes long, no more than that. They remade movies in little 7-minute chunks. That was a terrible idea. They remade reality shows, 7-minute chunks. There's one with Titus. I love Titus. What is it, Burgess? I love him from the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I think he's hysterical. It was a reality show where you take a meal and you chop it up in little pieces and then you fire it in a cannon. You think I'm making this up? It's not. You fire it in a cannon at 2 chefs. They have to then taste the remnants on their shoes, on their face, on their clothes, and then recreate the meal. It's called Dishmantled. That's a perfect example. In fact, somebody pointed out, it's really true, that every one of the shows on Quibi sounded like the made-up shows on 30 Rock. They were just nutty. Anyway, flop. Big flop. I think time will tell. Maybe. No, it's a flop. Then there's this TikTok thing. Kind of like the YouTube idea, where you don't get Hollywood, you don't get big stars, you just get people. And you give them a tool that lets them make funny, very short, 1-minute-long videos. And you say, have at it. And you get millions of submissions. Funny thing is, not a new idea. Vine did it. Then Twitter bought them and killed it. Twitter thought, oh, we can make so much money on this. We should just, and the creator said, no, you got to compensate us because we're making videos for you that you're making money on. And Twitter said, over our dead bodies. And the creator said, okay. And that was that. Vine's gone. But TikTok wasn't a new idea. It was just a Vine, kind of, but better than Vine because they had some really good creative themes and ideas. And people just took to it. That's the real thing. People loved it. So they got millions of videos. And then they did what Silicon Valley's so good at. They took the videos and what they did is they watched you as you used the phone. And they watched what videos you liked a lot. They didn't have to watch. You would say, I like this video. There's a button. And then the ones that people like a lot, they promote. They put up at the beginning. Because there's 2 tabs on this thing. One is for you, the people you follow, kind of like Twitter or Facebook that you follow, just that. And then that's for you, and then the other one's following. So following is the people you're following, and then for you is the stuff that they think, TikTok thinks, you're going to like this. I never go to the following one. I just do for you because it's new people you haven't seen before, and it's funny, it's good. Some of them are celebrities, admittedly. Most of them are not. Most of them are really dumb and goofy, but they're funny, and you can't help but laugh. And they're addictive because you swipe up, and there's another one, and then another one, another one. But the algorithm, that's what Silicon Valley gets that Hollywood didn't get. Hollywood's model is, well, we spend a lot of money to get the very, very best, and you're going to love it. Silicon Valley's model is, no. You just make something so enticing, you get millions of videos, and then you watch what people like, and you surface that, and you know what? You're going to get hits. And you do. You get great hits. You get huge hits. Comedians and others making their name. It's the most interesting social network out there. Creative stuff. It's wonderful. One little problem. Quibi was created in the good old US of A. TikTok is created in China by those nasty Chinese people we don't like. Actually, I love them. I was a Chinese major in college. I love China. I love the culture. I think it's awesome. Now, admittedly, the Chinese government, they do some nasty things. They're not great people. They got internment camps for the Uyghurs. They're commies. Okay, I understand we don't like them, whatever. We got to live with them because almost everything we use today in technology, almost everything is made there. So we can't be too mean to them. Really, they buy a lot of our food and things, and so we got to be kind of nice to them. But that's the problem with TikTok. It's made by Chinese people. They actually bought an American company called Musical.ly. That's when they really took off. So it isn't really completely made by Chinese, but it's owned by Chinese. Terrible, terrible thing. This is a terrible thing. Can't allow that to happen. Can't really ban it. President wants to ban it because he says it's spying on you. Now, I looked on my iPhone. Everything, by the way, everything on your iPhone is spying on you to one degree or another. TikTok doesn't ask for a lot of permissions. They don't get location. Unless you give them other information, they don't get really much anything. Mostly they just know what you're looking at on TikTok. It's not like the Chinese government's going to wage war based on what they know on TikTok. It's just not that good. But, hey, we don't, commies. Can't let them. So, President says, starting in September. So I think it's one of the things he can do. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to court on this one. You bet on Monday there'll be some lawsuits made. All transactions from ByteDance, and just because we'll throw in another Chinese company, WeChat, which nobody in the U.S. uses, but we'll throw that one in too, so it doesn't look like we're just picking on TikTok. September 20th, boom. No money from the U.S. can flow to them. I think the president can probably do that. I don't know. We'll find out. It'll go to court. TikTok already is saying that they will refund ad dollars they can't fulfill before September 20th, and they're going to work with their stars. Talk about quality people. They're going to work with their stars to let them move to another platform. We're sorry, we can't, so we'll help you go over to Periscope. I guess Twitter's got another one now called Periscope. We'll help you move over there, or YouTube. That's pretty cool. TikTok's even said, and because people are worried about our algorithm, we're gonna publish that so people could see what our algorithm is. There's one other thing in this mix, which is that President apparently talked to CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and said, now, if you were to buy it, okay. So they have till September 15th to work out a deal to buy TikTok from the Chinese. It's going to cost a lot of money because you know what? It's the #1 social network in the world right now. It's pretty good. I'm sorry. This is a heist. This is shady as heck. We can't. Somebody tweeted, oh, look, here's a picture of the CEO of TikTok posed next to the commie flag. You know what? The CEO, Mark Zuckerberg of the Facebook, he's posed next to the American flag, too. That's what happens. He is Chinese. It's the Chinese. Anyway, I know you're going to say, oh, this is Chinese. Got to be bad. No evidence. Zero. In fact, even our own intelligence community says, yeah, not so much. Not really a big issue. And it's not like Huawei. It's not so much a big issue. It's not, because everything on your phone is a big issue, honestly. It's all spying on you. Facebook gathers much more information than TikTok. If you use an iPhone, it's a little different with Android, but if you use an iPhone, you can see in the app what permissions they have. Look what Facebook's getting versus what TikTok's getting if you have both. But it's an American company. Well, okay, fine. Okay, fine. I don't think the Chinese are coming our way to come get you for what you watch on TikTok. I just don't. It seems unlikely. It's a heist. Oh, and by the way, another thing the president says, and by the way, Microsoft, if you do buy them, we want our cut. What? What? That's admitting, yeah, we blackmailed them into it, so we want our cut. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I don't know what to say. I've never seen anything like it. It's shocking. We can have the conversation about privacy. I agree. But we shouldn't. It's not just TikTok's not the problem. There's bigger problems on your phone. And I agree. We should talk about that. In fact, here's your chance. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. We can talk about TikTok. Coming up, I'll talk a little more about Samsung. They announced a bunch of phones. I'm trying to decide. You can help me. Should I get the folding phone? Is the time right? 8888 Ask Leo, is the phone number. TechGuyLabs.com is the website. We will get to your calls in a minute. She is a disembodied voice called Kim Schaffer. Well, you know what? In the radio biz, you've always been that.
Everybody's a disembodied voice.
We're all disembodied voices. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
How's your week been?
I don't know. Like Groundhog Day again. Every week.
I thought that was just me. It's such a. Why is that? It all seems like it's just the same.
I don't know. I have no idea why it's like that.
It doesn't. It's never changes. Groundhog Day is the perfect. Like, oh, it's Saturday again.
Yeah, every day is a Saturday. Well, no, actually, every 5 days a week are Mondays for me. And then I get Saturday and Sunday. Oh, hi.
Hi, how are you? I see you now, but nobody cares because it's radio.
It is radio.
But I like to see you.
Well, thank you.
Kim is in an undisclosed location in a bunker deep below the surface of the earth. I think it's 7 miles.
I was going to say 250 feet.
I think it's 7 miles.
Isn't that where they keep all the...
The salt?
No, I was watching a ridiculous episode of Ozzy Osbourne and his son traveling around, and they took him as a present, took him to this place like 250 feet below.
Sharon, where'd the sun go, Sharon?
That's where they keep all the, his master recordings. And it's not just him. It's like, I guess it's government stuff too. I don't know. It's anything they don't want destroyed. So... It's something Mountain. Jeff said Iron Mountain.
Yeah, that's a business. It's called Iron Mountain. Hey, who should I talk to before we get down this rabbit hole here?
How about Michael in San Marcos?
Thank you,
Or
Kim.
Mike in San Marcos.
Hi, Mike in San Marcos. How are you? Leo Laporte, the tech guy here.
Hi, Leo. The reason I'm calling is I'm having difficulty with my Chromebook, and the difficulty is when I sign on and enter my password, it rejects that.
It's your Google password, right?
Yes.
Can you use another computer and log into your Google account any other way?
I have not tried that.
Okay, that's the first thing to try. It may be that your Google password isn't what you thought it was. Sometimes people enter a capital letter and it's a lowercase or a number and it's an O instead of a 0 or a 1 instead of an L. So the Chromebook doesn't have a mind of its own. It has no mind, like all computers. And the way Chromebooks work is, unless you assign, and modern Chromebooks, I think you can assign a PIN to it, or you can use a fingerprint. But what will always work is your Google password. So the first thing to do is make sure that your Google password is correct. If you go to another computer and try to log into your Google account, you can even just go to google.com or gmail.com and sign in. And if that works, all right, you know your password, then go back to the Chromebook, make sure you're doing it right. Worst case, you can always power wash the Chromebook and start over. Make sure your caps lock isn't on. All the usual things. But the good news is the Chromebook password is not separate from your Google password. It is your Google password. Maybe if you can log on in another account, change your password. Maybe it'll be something you could type more easily or without error with the caps lock or the num lock, that kind of thing. Coming up, Scott Wilkinson, home theater guru, next. This episode of the Tech Guy Podcast brought to you by, we got a brand new sponsor. Oh, I want to welcome them. Adobe Sign. Every time somebody sends me a document and says, can you sign this and fax it back? I go, what's wrong with you? Get with the 21st century. Use Adobe Sign. If you're running a business, I know there's a lot of challenges out there, but I got to tell you, you're nuts to still be doing signatures. That just says, that's from the era of the buggy whip. Adobe Sign is trustworthy, secure. It's what you want to use. They've processed more than 8 billion transactions now from millions of signers all over the globe. Everybody, small startups, global organizations. E-signatures are the future. They're the present. They're the way to go. With Adobe Sign, you can support your critical processes. They have this. It's more efficient across all the departments. It makes it easier to work, whether it's requesting permits, construction planning, health services. Yes, it's HIPAA compliant. Internal operations like human resources, procurement, IT. It's more secure. And, I got to tell you, your customers, your colleagues, the people you work with will bless you for it. No one wants to print, sign, and fax a document, or worse, print, sign, and mail it. I just did that the other day. Financial organization. I'm going, why aren't you using Adobe Sign? And it's easy, by the way. You don't have to do it all. Your employees can do it. It's employee-driven, self-serve workflows. It makes it very easy for anybody to initiate and track signing processes. And there's all sorts of features you can say. You got a deadline, it's got to be signed by this date. Automatic archiving of final documents, complete audit trail. That's why it's more secure. You're going to save time, you're going to save money, and it's going to be more secure. Enterprise grade security and compliance. It can be configured and used with organizations that have security compliance regulations. I mentioned HIPAA, also FERPA, GLOBA, GLBA. I don't even know that one, and more. E-signature processes protect sensitive information. They are both legal, absolutely legal. It's accessible. That's important. You got to consider that. Accessibility is very important. They enforce regulatory and policy rules automatically, so you don't even have to know, what the rules are in your area. It's automatically handled. You can get everybody's legal e-signature. You can choose from a variety of signer identity methods, verification methods, including U.S. government IDs, certificate-based employee IDs, PIV or CAC cards, and lots more. So that's why I don't know why people think here's the form, print it out, sign it, and mail it back is more secure than this. This is the best. Adobe Sign. It easily integrates e-signatures into the systems and applications you're already using. Pre-built integrations for everything. Microsoft, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Workday. That's what we use here at Premiere. Access to the powerful APIs is built in, already included. You get the most bang for your buck. And again, I think this is something you should pay attention to. Signers like it better too. They just click a link and they've signed. You can easily track and manage processes. You'll know the status of every signature. Actually, you can set the security requirements you want. So you can say, no, not only do they have to make an account, we have to get ID and all that. You can do all that. You can do whatever you need. If you haven't got a signature that you sent out, you can send reminders. You can cancel requests. As I said, you can get timed deadlines. Contracts get signed, loans get approved, deals get done faster than ever before. Adobe Sign has solutions for every kind of company, from small business to global companies, no matter what your industry, no matter what the regulatory requirements. It just makes me mad when I go, why aren't you using Adobe Sign? Keep your business moving with Adobe. Learn more about what Adobe Sign can do for your business. They're a trusted partner. They really are. Adobe.com/businessmoves. I love that URL. Adobe.com/businessmoves. You know why? Because business moves with Adobe. Adobe.com/businessmoves. Thank you, Adobe, for supporting the Tech Guy podcast. Thank you for supporting us by going to that URL. And you know what? On behalf of your customers, your signers, thank you for please, thank you for using Adobe Sign. It's so easy to get started. Adobe.com/businessmoves. So what is hip? That's hip right there, that guy. That's Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek. He's been hip since the 50s.
Damn straight.
Dang straight. Hello, Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek.
Leo. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. Very good. Thank you.
What's up in your world?
Oh, I attended a virtual trade show this week. Yeah.
What is that like? Because I think that's the future of trade shows, at least for a little while.
I think it is too.
Right?
Certainly, we know that CES is going to be that way. We know that CEDIA is going to be that way. And so this was kind of, I mean, there have been a couple already. NAB was that way, and I didn't really attend that, but I did attend this one. It's called Display Week. It's put on by the Society for Information Display, or SID. And it was a week-long online event, 15 seminars, 340 symposiums, short courses, a business conference, 150 exhibitors. It was pretty cool, actually. You had to register, and you go to their home page, and it looks like a hotel lobby, and the exhibit halls are over here.
Oh, that's
and
clever.
It's very clever. They had a press room that you could go into.
So they make it kind of a virtual space. That's a very good idea.
Yeah, exactly right. They had keynotes and so on and so on. 5,400 attendees.
Wow. That's what the internet used to be in the early days of places like Apple had a place called eWorld and stuff where they would make it look like a village. And you and you would click on, the exercise room or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was really cool. And I have to tell you, I attended almost no live presentations. I went back after the fact.
Yeah.
And this is it's one of the really big advantages of doing it online, because
you can go
in after the fact, you can roll back. You can say, "Oh wait, I didn't quite get that." And you can go back 10 seconds and catch what they said. You can pause and take good notes. When I'm at a real conference, I'm scribbling furiously, making sure that I get what I need to report on it or understand what they're talking about. And sometimes it's very difficult. So
there's advantages and there's disadvantages. Like the disadvantage is you can't ask questions.
Correct.
It's not live, but you have to just pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Another disadvantage that I know Mike Heiss agrees with me on this is that actually walking around a show floor, you discover things.
Serendipity.
Exactly. But with this, you had to kind of know what you were looking for.
Right. There's less there still could be serendipity, but it's less.
Well,
and
sure, there's less of it.
You don't run into friends either, which is my favorite serendipity of conferences is, Scott, I haven't seen you in ages. How you doing, guy? And blah, blah, blah.
Yep. You don't get any of that. Now, I did see some comments being posted there that said things like, a few of my friends and I, we did a show floor crawl in video conference. Right. So if you spend a little time at it, you can get together with a few people and sort of go from booth to booth in a way. But it was
a little weird.
It was a little weird. It was a little weird. Yeah. The funniest thing about the pre-recorded presentations, basically you go to a presentation and they show you the PowerPoint slides. And you can either look at them one by one or you can listen to the presentation of the person, speaking. And they automatically transcribed what they were saying, and it shows up as a subtitle. And what's really hilarious, and I cast no aspersions whatsoever, but the people for whom English is not the first language, the subtitles are hilarious.
That's like in the old days of Google automatic transcription on YouTube, where it would just be, what?
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 Yeah, right. So, my wife's been to a couple of these medical conferences, and she says, I just turn off the audio and I watch the subtitles. And I said, well, I couldn't do that here because if you just read the subtitles, you wouldn't know what the heck was going on.
So they must be using automatic titling as opposed to a human.
Absolutely, they have to be.
Yeah,
they have to be.
Yeah, that's expensive to get a human to sit there and
yeah.
Even when you watch closed captioning on TV, you can really tell the difference. And I don't know what the rules are, whether it's the network wants to spend more money or what, but you can tell when a human's doing it. In fact, sometimes I'll be watching a show, a human's doing it live, and and they'll backspace.
Yes.
They'll go,
exactly
no, that's not what he said. They'll fix it.
Yeah, right.
Misunderstood that one.
Yep, exactly.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is definitely, you want to listen, and for those who have a very thick accent in English, it's pretty hard, and it always has been. That's been a problem in live trade shows as well. You get these CEOs from Chinese or Japanese or Korean companies that don't speak English very well, and you don't understand what the heck they're saying.
And I imagine we sound just as unintelligible to them.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, if I tried to speak Korean, forget about it.
Samsung does that. They had an event again this week, and they do that. They'll bring out their CEO, DJ Ko, and his English is remarkably good. It's not that he can't speak English; it's that it's strongly accented. So you really have to work. You have to really work to understand.
You have to really work.
Yeah.
It's a mental.
And I could see how the automated transcription service would just.
Oh man, it just went off the rails so many times.
Yeah.
Well, but anyway, so then you go to the manufacturer exhibits, and they have some interesting things as well. One of the ones I definitely want to point out is from this company Nanosys, which is one of the big companies in quantum dots. We've talked about quantum dots quite a bit, which are these microscopic little spheres of semiconductor material that glow, that emit a very specific wavelength of light when exposed to shorter wavelength, blue light, basically. And they're used in TVs all over the place now for getting really saturated colors. And the technology is expanding and growing very rapidly. We're going to get to a point where they become electroemissive. That is, you hit them with an electric field or an electric current, and they will glow without having to be exposed to light. That's the next generation beyond OLED. But they had some really nice presentations in their booth, if you will, including Jeff Urich, the marketing guy, did one a day for the whole week. He looked at a different movie and looked at how the color saturation in that movie was and how it went beyond what most TVs can do. And he was in support of quantum dots, which are very saturated. And so he looked at The Matrix, and he looked at Star Wars, and he looked at Planet Earth 2, and he actually had a really cool demonstration, a graphic of where the colors were going in a scene as you were looking at the scene. Super cool. Really, really interesting. Kind of geeky, but, for those of us who are geeks, super cool. They also had a presentation about a charity that they were supporting called Giving Back, which is supporting young people in Oakland painting murals to beautify the community. And it was really, really nice. So I want to point out Nanosys in particular, because they did their presentation in their booth.
So is this, you think, a template for future conferences?
Absolutely. CES, CDS.
It was fairly satisfying.
Absolutely. Yeah. No question about it. This is the future.
Maybe even after we get out of quarantine, it might be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Scott Wilkinson, he's a contributor at techhive.com, and he's, of course, our own personal home theater geek, joins us every week. Thank you, Scott. If you have questions, you can email him, Scott at techguylabs.com. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. I guess my big clock is off.
Uh-oh.
That's all right. I can just...
Did we
I ended
overshoot?
a little soon. I didn't hear the sounder. Sometimes the sounder doesn't work, and so I just end it when my clock says end it. But in this case, I ended.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. We didn't have that little.
I have two clocks, and my other thing. But you can't always count on the little sound thing. So let me just check to make sure my clock is updating. I don't know where that is. There it is. Set time zone automatically. I guess that's where it would be, huh?
By the way, Chumley had the question, isn't that color gamut? That's exactly what it is. That's
color
exactly
gamut.
Gamut. That is what this display showed you. It showed you the P3 color gamut, which is the one most movies and now TVs use, and the BT 2020 color gamut, which is wider, and there are virtually no TVs that can do that. And yet Jeff Urich was demonstrating that a lot of movies have colors that extend beyond P3 and into 2020. So I found that fascinating. He was using a great piece of software from Florian Friedrich in Germany that shows this in real time. Basically, you put in a video and it shows you where all the colors are.
Nice.
In that scene. It's super cool.
So I know computer monitors can do P3, but it sounds like TVs are few and far between that can do P3.
No, quite a few TVs can do P3 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you should look for?
Yeah. Well, yeah. That would be ideal because
it doesn't mean accuracy, it just means capability.
Correct. Accuracy comes from calibration, generally speaking.
I
but
presume if they put enough energy to make a display P3, they would give you a way to calibrate it. So it's
absolutely. You
wouldn't want to do one without the other.
Correct. Who
makes the most accurate ones? Does it require quantum dots?
No, it doesn't require quantum dots.
Is OLED more accurate? I mean, not accurate. Broader gamut. Gamut.
Damn it.
I love you.
I think it's a good question. I don't know really the answer to that. I'll have to do some research on that. Certainly, OLEDs go out to P3, but modern LCDs do too. So,
okay. So P3s. I know a lot of computer monitors now claim P3.
Right.
Not unusual at all.
And just for those who don't know, it's how saturated are the red, green, and blue points. And the more saturated they are, the greater the range of colors they can reproduce. P3 is more saturated, has greater range of color than high def HD TV, which is technically called BT709. P3 has more colors than that, more saturated. BT 2020 has more yet than that. And to get true BT 2020, you need lasers. You must. That's the only way to get them, because the red, green, and blue are what are called monochromatic. They are single wavelength, and that's almost impossible. I mean, lasers aren't even single wavelength; they're very narrow, but they're not actually single wavelength. So 2020 is very difficult to do. The best hope we have of achieving 2020 in a flat panel display is quantum dots, because they are also very narrow band of wavelengths that they emit. So quantum dots will get us very close.
I bet you're going to start seeing, because people are getting savvy about this, P3 indicated on the box. Anyway, top of the hour?
You betcha.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. John in Fallbrook, California. Hello, John.
Hey, good morning, Leo.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Just like you had been mentioning, Groundhog Day.
It's weird, isn't it? Everything's the same. I didn't realize going out to eat or going on vacation was so important to the landmarks of your life, that you had these posts, visiting people, hanging out with friends. All of those things gave life kind of some sort of cadence. Now it's just
we'll get through this soon.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll find a new normal somewhere.
Oh yeah. You know what I'm reading right now is kind of a reassuring thing. There's a great book about the Blitz, the London Blitz during World War II, when the Nazis for almost a year were bombing London almost every night. I mean, imagine, and how people got through that and how difficult it was. And I'm sure at the time it was devastating, but they survived.
Oh yeah. But it was pretty obvious there. Here, you don't know who the enemy is.
Yeah, that's true. It's sneaking up on you. Yeah, that's a good point. This is a little bit scarier because it could be anywhere. Yeah.
My question for today is, I have a Samsung TV, a 55-inch. I bought in 2012. So I went from a surround sound to a sound bar. And in the past, I used the surround sound as the internet access to get Prime and
that's interesting. Okay.
Netflix.
So you had a receiver of some kind that had had HDMI inputs and things like that, or had built in those features.
Yeah, and I hooked it to the internet and everything was good.
Yeah.
So now I went to my TV and I tried to put it, set up my internet, my Wi-Fi to the TV, and it won't accept it.
So the TV is a smart TV that has the capability, but you just can't get it to work.
That's right. So I called Samsung. In real life, they are very responsive. They spent some time with me and walked me through all the steps, and then at the end of the day, they said, your chip's bad.
So it's supposed to, it's just not working.
That's correct.
Interesting.
Right? I tried WPS, and then I tried to put in my password, and then we reset the whole TV. We tried it again. No luck. So my question was, and there's a LAN connection in the back.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. You can do better than those crappy old smart TV apps. Guarantee you they haven't been updated as much. They aren't the best version of Netflix and Amazon Prime and everything. And my recommendation, there's two ways you can go. If you're a big Apple user, the Apple TV, it's a little pricey. It's between $170 and $200. Or if you're not an Apple user, the Roku. And the Roku adds all of those channels and many more, thousands of channels. And the way the Roku works is it plugs into the HDMI port on your TV. I presume your TV has an HDMI port.
Well, I got one. I think I may have one more that's open.
That's probably the case, yeah. So you have one for your cable box going right into it. If you have one more that's open, that's what you do. You plug. Now, the Roku makes several. I don't recommend the sticks. They have one that just looks like a USB key, but it sticks into the HDMI port. Those tend to overheat. Amazon makes them and Roku make them. They tend to overheat. My favorite would be the Roku, either the Ultra, if you have you don't have a 4K TV, but so just get the regular Roku HD. It's a little hockey puck size thing, plugs into the HDMI port, plugs into the wall. It has Wi-Fi or Ethernet, so you can go either way. And it's more modern. They update the apps more. You're going to get the much better experience than you get with any smart TV software.
But I'm using other HDMI into my soundbar.
I see. Do you have the soundbar may also have optical, and your TV may have optical out?
We tried that, but we can't get the darn thing to stay in the hole, right? It's just a little...
You need a better cable. Yeah. You need the right cable. Generally, they have what they call toss-link cables. They look like a little barn, upside-down barn. Tiny little thing. You get the right cable, it'll go. And sometimes it's a headphone jack-looking cable. You just need the right cable for both sides. That's a better way to drive your soundbar. That'll free up the HDMI port, and then you can put a Roku in there.
So what's a Roku cost? Any guesses?
Yeah, I know. I don't even have to guess. It's around $89.
And is there a fee?
Nope.
Monthly fee?
Nope.
Oh.
There's a fee if you have a Netflix fee. There's if you pay for HBO Max, there are fees for the individual channels, but there's no fee for the Roku by itself. The only reason you could even use Roku for Apple TV, I just don't think the Apple TV app is very good on the Roku. In fact, it's terrible. So if you bought a lot of stuff on iTunes, I would use an Apple TV. Apple TV is kind of the king of the hill, but it's just pricey. It's twice as much as a Roku.
So I can't get a dongle for Wi-Fi to USB and plug it in. That won't work?
You could, but so there are plenty of USB Wi-Fi dongles. I doubt the TV will see it as its Wi-Fi port, though.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So the TV would have to have a driver that said, oh, I get it. They're using an external. I mean, you could ask Samsung. If Samsung says, they can do it, maybe they can. But generally, I would expect that not to be the case.
How about Wi-Fi to a LAN connection? Or I couldn't find that on the internet, though.
So you don't have a LAN near enough the TV to connect a cable?
I'm living off of cellular Wi-Fi.
Oh, you don't have LAN. You only have Wi-Fi. I get it.
Yeah, I'm out in the boonies, and we don't. Yeah, we barely got copper out here.
Yeah. Have you watched streaming TV on that connection?
Yeah, when I had the surround sound, the Samsung surround sound, we did.
Okay, because I only say that because generally cellular connections aren't very good for watching TV. But if you have a nice fast LTE connection, then you should be able to get enough bandwidth to watch quality streams.
It almost never buffered. Once
nice.
every while,
that's great.
But almost never. So,
yeah, my suggestion was get the right kind of cable for Toslink. You can buy those on Amazon. They're cheap. Make sure it shouldn't fall out. It should stay in there. So I'm thinking you got the wrong cable or a bad cable. It should go in pretty seriously. It should go chunk and it's be in there, and then you could do it on both ends, and then you have an HDMI port.
It came with the soundbar. It's a Yamaha soundbar.
Yeah. So where does it fall out? The soundbar or the TV?
It's kind of like both of them are seem to be a real poor connection. They're just a little round tube of glass looking thing that sticks.
Yeah, so there's two ways to do it. One looks like a headphone jack, kind of, but it's got a light coming out the tip. And the other one is like a little barn that plugs in. I don't know how to describe it. You need the right one for both the TV and the soundbar. I'm surprised it's fallen out of the soundbar. That doesn't sound.
It's. You mean they have one that looks like a 3.5 millimeter plug?
Yeah. So I'm not sure which kind you have.
It must be the barn, but I haven't recognized the barn.
Yeah, when you look at the back of the TV, it looked like a little tiny barn door upside down. It's square at the bottom and round at the top. I don't have any way to describe it. That's a typical optical cable. The cable itself will have a little tip that has the light coming out of it. That should be a nice fit. That should be a very nice fit. And then the other kind of optical cables kind of look, again, I'm just trying to describe something. It's not exactly right, but they kind of look more, they're not square. They look more like a headphone cable. Most likely you have a Toslink cable, which is the little barn door with a probe coming out of it. You buy another one. They're $10 on Amazon. And when you buy that's the best way to do it. You'll get the best sound. Everything will sync up. The Roku will work. Everything will be, that's really the best way to go. And the Roku does Wi-Fi much better. Obviously, your TVs can, it's very easy the Wi-Fi to burn out. Could very easily. Now, I do have... he's already gone, sorry. Because I was going to say, I do have with me Mr. Scott Wilkinson, who would never lie to you.
Never lie. No.
I thought maybe...
I think your advice was good.
I think that's the right advice. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything that he could use to get Wi-Fi to that TV would not be worth it, to be honest.
No. He needs to get a Roku or an Apple TV.
Yeah. Somebody's saying, and I agree, the NVIDIA Shield is amazing. I love it. It's Android TV. The drawback to it is it doesn't get a lot of the channels, at least for Comcast. It depends on your cable company. But so it's a weird thing when you want to get like HBO Max or you want to get Showtime anytime. In some cases, you can get it because you're already paying for it in the cable on your device.
But if you don't have it in your cable system...
Well, no, it's worse than that. So I have all of that. I have a full cable thing.
Yeah.
On Apple TV, I can sign up for all of that, no problem.
Yeah.
Comcast says, yeah, fine, you sign up through Comcast. Roku only recently made a deal with Comcast so that you could do that. The NVIDIA Shield does not. So I cannot use, even though I pay for Showtime on Comcast, I cannot use Showtime on the NVIDIA Shield. I can't use HBO Max on the NVIDIA Shield.
Because NVIDIA didn't make a deal.
Yes, somebody didn't make a deal. Showtime or NVIDIA. It's a three-way deal with the device, with this company and the cable company, the content company and the cable company. So, I think it's probably NVIDIA. Because Apple TV made the deal.
Right.
Roku just made the deal. NVIDIA hasn't made the deal. So
another example of that is HBO.
Mike Heiss, it depends on your cable company. If you pay for HBO Max yourself, $15 a month, yes. But if you want to do it through the cable company, it depends on your cable company. I think it is. I think it's. Well, I don't know if it's Android. I think it's NVIDIA.
According to Mike, it's not NVIDIA. Who knows? It's Android. Who knows?
It's one of them. They got to make a deal things.
One of them guys.
Let's make a deal.
Anyway, I was also very surprised that if he had the barn door type Toslink cable, which probably is what came with the Yamaha soundbar.
Is that how you describe it, by the way?
I had never thought of it that way.
It's square-ish.
It kind of is.
It's rounded on the top. square on the
round
bottom.
on the top, square on the bottom, and it has a little door.
Yeah, it has a little door. That's why I say the door.
When
Yes.
you push the thing in, the door goes up. So it's like a barn door. I'd
Yeah.
never thought of that before.
Well, that's what I use. I don't know another way to describe it.
But it locks into place.
It should never be loose.
No, exactly. I mean, it doesn't lock into place.
No, but it shouldn't be
into
loose.
place.
It's pretty solid in there.
Yeah, so I don't get that.
That's why I think he might have the wrong cable.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that.
Yeah. Even though it's provided.
It provided by the Yamaha, which means it should have been compatible with the Yamaha connector.
Shouldn't have been falling out.
No.
Unless he put it in wrong, maybe.
That was very strange.
I don't think you can put it in wrong because it's keyed. It's square on one side and round on the other side. I don't see it. It's nothing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I get a lot of questions like that I don't get. Honestly, half the questions I get, like, I can't log into my Chromebook, but that's your Google password. Well, I know, but it won't work. But I don't get that because it should.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. It's probably, I don't know, user error. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you think he didn't take the protective cap off? No, but then you wouldn't get it in at all.
You wouldn't be able to get it in at all, yeah.
But dude,
there is a protective cap on it.
Little translucent protective cap. Pull that off.
A little condom, yeah. That's right. It's possible. That is possible. Anyway, so yeah, I got a little 4.5 minutes left. We were talking about colors, primary colors, and my sister asked the question, and I know exactly where the question came from. She said, "Aren't red, yellow, and blue the primary colors?" And the question comes from the book Little Blue and Little Yellow, which we both read as little children. And if you combine and there was the story of two blobs of color, yellow and blue. And when you put them together, they make green. And those were the original primary colors for print, not for TVs. For emissive displays, things that put out light, they are red, green, and blue. But for things that reflect light, like the printed page, they are or were red, yellow, and blue. Now, some people in the chat room have said, wait a second, there's cyan, yellow, and magenta and black are the printing colors, and that's true. These days, things are printed in CYMK, K for black. And because cyan, magenta, and yellow are also on the triangle of colors, if you will, you can combine them to get red, green, and blue. TVs could use cyan, magenta, and yellow as their primary colors. At the moment, the cyan, yellow, and magenta are what are called the secondary colors. And you can combine green and blue and get cyan. You can combine green and red and get yellow. And you can combine blue and red and get magenta. Similarly, you could do it the other way if you wanted. But TV manufacturers long ago standardized on red, green, and blue. Printers these days have standardized on cyan, yellow, and magenta, from which you can get red, green, and blue. And they also use black ink because with a printed page, you need to be able to not to absorb light and not reflect it. And so you really do need black ink. Beatmaster, yes, exactly. Yellow and magenta give you red. Cyan and yellow give you green. Magenta and cyan give you blue. That is exactly correct. So that is kind of interesting. I've always thought that was interesting. UJ asks, if panel producers pursue BT 2020 by narrowing color bandwidth, might that introduce metamerism? Or metamerism, or am I misunderstanding something? No, you are not misunderstanding something. You have got it exactly right. What is metamerism? It is the tendency, the difference that individual people perceive color. When the colors being used as the primary colors, such as red, green, and blue, we were talking about that earlier, if those colors, the narrower the band in which those colors exist, so lasers in particular have the worst problem here. If you make colors based on laser red, green, and blue, then and you combine them in some way to make some color in the middle somewhere, different people will see a different color. They'll perceive different colors. It's amazing. It's called metamerism. And that is a problem as you approach BT 2020. That's exactly correct. UJ got it exactly right. How do we solve it? You don't go all the way to 2020. If you do, then, and it's not going to be a problem for any individual, but different people, the producer of the content is going to make their content look a certain way and have a certain color. But then if somebody else, 10,000 people look at it and they all see different colors, you're not seeing what the creator intended. That's that.
The creator intends for me to tell you thank you. And have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thanks. You too, Leo.
Take care. Thanks, Scott.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yes, it's time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, Toslink, cables, optical cables. I was talking with Scott Wilkinson about our last caller of the hour who had optical cable that was provided by the maker of the soundbar that kept falling out. And Scott had a thought. You know, these optical cables, to protect them, they're glass inside. Just like it's fiber optic. It's the same thing. So it conducts light. In fact, if you push open the little barn door and peek inside, don't stare inside. You don't want to hurt your eyes, but just peek inside. You'll see a little red light. That's the digital signal coming out of that thing. So to protect the little glass tips on these cables, there's usually a little translucent rubber tip. And I was trying to think, why is it falling out? Why is it? Oh, maybe Scott's idea. He didn't take the protective tip off. So if there's a little translucent rubber protective tip on the cable, take that off, then put it in. It should go in schnicker, snack, boom, perfectly. Should just fit perfectly. Shouldn't be loose, shouldn't fall out. Toslink is made to kind of, it's funny. I should have asked Scott this when he was here. HDMI. Have you had this problem? HDMI gets loose over time. The cables wiggle-waggle a little bit. We have a TV in the gym, and my wife's on the treadmill. Boom, 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 boom. And the TV just shakes ever so slightly. My wife is a tiny little thing, but somehow she manages to, I guess the floor's jiggling, and then the TV's jiggling. And I think the cables are jiggling. And over time, and I mean like a year, the cable gets looser and looser. Pretty soon, it just kind of loosey, wobbly falls out. That is a flaw. That is a flaw in HDMI, I think. Something they didn't think about. Cables should be, they shouldn't fall out. If they're falling out, there's something wrong with it. And I think that's a little flaw in HDMI. Just a little, I just want to register that complaint with the HDMI committee. Luke on the line. He's a truck driver on the road again. Hi, Luke.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for hanging on.
This might be better for Coast to Coast AM, but could you explain to me about Starlink satellite and why STAR doesn't stand for surveillance, tracking, and reconnaissance?
Any satellite could, in theory, right, have cameras in it. In fact, many do. That's why if you're a trucker, I'm sure you've used Google Maps or Apple's Maps or Waze. Those are all. Well, Waze doesn't have satellite images, but if you ever use a satellite imagery, that's from those satellites up there. So they could have cameras. Starlink does not have a camera. That's good news, but there's plenty of other satellites that do. What Starlink is not so different from, I guess, a cell site would be a good example. It's a receiver, so the internet service provider beams the internet up to it. It sends it back down to you, so it's a transmitter. Then you have, with Starlink, a pizza box-sized dish, it's roughly that size, that receives the signal, connects to your computer, and then your computer goes, okay, and sends another signal back through that dish, so that dish is both a transmitter and receiver as well, to the satellite. Satellite takes it, relays it back down to the ground station. That's all that's in there. It's like a cell tower, a little receiver sender. No need to be paranoid about it.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm not paranoid. I actually think it would be a wonderful thing.
Oh, you want it to be.
If they had the ability to have these satellites stationed over America. That way, if someone murders somebody and they know the location of the murder, they could just go on and put in the longitude and the latitude and go to the crime scene and see who was there. And
yeah, that already happens. And I'm not sure I'm crazy about this. So it has, in the past, law enforcement has gone to Google. See, your phone is actually exactly what you just described. Your phone, as you probably know, unless you've turned off location, and even if you have, probably still is keeping track of you, not by cell towers or Starlink towers, which would be imprecise, but by GPS, which is accurate to 3 meters. So you have in your phone a tracking of where you are at all times, just like you would if you have a GPS device locked to your bumper or whatever. And the law enforcement has, at least to my knowledge, twice, and I would guess many more times, gone to Google and said, look, there was a crime committed. It wasn't a murder. In this case, it was just a convenience store robbery. Actually, it was a series of robberies. We would like all the location information for everybody who was in that area within a 24-hour period of time. Google fought this because that's what we call in the, I don't call it that, but what's what the legal beagles call a fishing expedition, where the law enforcement is saying, give us everything. We'll go through it, try to find the culprit. And it is, I would say, a violation of privacy rights of everybody except, the crook. Google's fought it and failed. By the way, the courts do not agree with me. They agree with law enforcement. And so those big grabs of location information do happen. And that's exactly how it's used. I'll tell you why a lot of privacy advocates don't like it. Because it's a big net, and it draws in everybody, the innocent and guilty alike. And in general, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights kind of frown on the notion. I mean, if you allow police to just say, look, I want to keep track of everybody at every moment in case something happens, and then we'll have that information. If you allow that, that's unreasonable search and seizure. That's the police keeping track of stuff on everybody. And I think most people, and certainly all privacy rights advocates, think that's a bad idea. That's a violation, I think, of the Fourth Amendment of the Bill of Rights. So courts have gone both ways on this one. I am not a fan of it. You don't need a satellite to do that. And the truth is, the military satellites, we don't know because this is a top secret area. My uncle used to work for the CIA. Before that, he was a satellite analyst for the U.S. Army. He's passed, so this is old information. But even then, 30 years ago, he said, oh, yeah, we can read a newspaper over your shoulder. That was 30 years ago. Probably U-2 spy planes, things like that. There is, in my mind, not a scintilla of doubt that existing military satellite cameras can see faces, can see license plates, can see everything. As long as you're outside, there's satellites taking pictures of it at all times. So we already have that. I do hope that the Constitution holds and that information is not used kind of willy-nilly by law enforcement. I think there's a risk there because, and remember, that's what the Bill of Rights is all about, is protecting the rights of everybody. And sure, we'd be better at catching criminals if we didn't have to protect civilian rights. I prefer to live in a country where we do protect the rights of individuals. We catch enough criminals. We do a pretty good job. And I think you have to be careful of saying, well, we could do a 100% job if we just had all that footage. That day is coming, that day, that 1984 era where there's cameras everywhere and everything is captured. It's kind of true already, isn't it? Everything is captured. And So I think we're headed that way regardless. But I don't want to encourage Starlink to get in that business. Starlink is exciting. I should just tell you what Starlink is because we were talking about this. This is Elon Musk's SpaceX plan. SpaceX is not the only company thinking about this. Amazon's doing something similar. SpaceX wants to launch 12,000 satellites in a low Earth orbit that would provide high speed, according to SpaceX, and we will find out soon because it's going to start being operational soon in the next 6 months. High-speed internet to every square inch of the planet. Initially, it'll be limited. I think they have 90 satellites up, but they're launching at a pretty brisk pace. It'll take them another 5 years to get all 12,000 up. They've received FCC approval. At that point, high-speed internet, wow, everywhere on every square inch of the planet. Imagine what that will be. Imagine what that'll be like. There's 600 now? Oh, all right. He's been launching faster than I thought. They do about 60 per launch. So, yeah, I guess 10 launches, 600. They hope to get that operational initially. It won't be as fast as it will be eventually because it's fewer satellites this year. I think that's fascinating. Amateur astronomers not thrilled because of the number of satellites, but guess what? Amazon's going to do the same thing. They're going to launch thousands of satellites up there. There's going to be there's a lot of space in the sky. Okay. And amateur astronomers, they don't like it because they're taking a long exposure picture of a portion of the sky and a big satellite goes across it. There's just a big bright streak right across it. That's kind of not great. But on the other hand, I like the idea of internet everywhere. So we shall see. 8888 Ask Leo. It's a good question. It's a good question. There's no doubt we have the capability to put satellites in the sky that monitor us at all times. The question is, should we be doing that? Do you really want that? Sometimes you got to balance privacy rights with the desire to catch every criminal at all times. Our show today brought to you by my friends at Simply Safe. Where's my base station? Right down here. Hey. You can throw this. You can beat it. You can break it with a hammer. This is the Simply Safe way. This is the way to secure your home with none of the drawbacks of traditional home security. None. Here's the thing about home security companies. Most of them, they're tricksters. I know from experience, they want to get you indoor and they want to get you in a long-term contract. They're tricky too. They won't they won't tell you exactly how much it costs till they got you signing on the bottom line. High prices, tricky contracts. Oh, and then you find out about the lousy customer support. Look it. This is the one, Simply Safe. It's a no-brainer. Simply Safe has everything you need to protect your home. But you install it. Nowadays, who wants some guy coming in the house, traipsing around with a ladder and shoes and a drill and making a mess of your house and then breathing on you don't want that. You want to do it yourself. Simply Safe. You go to the website, you choose the sensors you need, and they have everything. Everything. Blanket your house with window and door opening sensors, with movement sensors. I have them in the halls at the end of the hallways. Somebody comes down the hall. I know. You can have water leak sensors. Put that out there by the hot water heater, you bet. I had that happen once to me years ago and never again. No. I got the sensor. What else? Everything. Cameras, everything you need. And you tailor it just for what you want. Plus, they're easy to install. No drilling. No guy coming through the house. Peel and stick. Put them where you want. They're easy to take with you if you move. And then you're not giving up on the professional monitoring. No, because you got this base station. You get 24/7 night and day monitoring, and it's better monitoring. Actually, the police, the fire, the medical professionals respond better to calls from Simply Safe's monitoring because they can verify what's really going on in there. They say, this is no false alarm. I see the bad guys. They're moving down the hall right now. And then the police come fast. I see the fire. It's in the kitchen, right? They come. They don't... sometimes, especially with other alarm services, they'll wait a few minutes because there's so many false alarms, not with Simply Safe. No contract, No pushy sales guy. I'm the only pushy sales guy you'll meet right here. That's me. That's my job. No hidden fees, no fine print. Now, I don't know if you've priced or you've ever had home security monitoring, where there's somebody 24/7 and they call and do all that. Have you ever done that? Do you know how much it costs? Remember? Simply Safe. Okay, keep in mind that number that the other guys are charging you. Now cut that in half or by a third, because Simply Safe only charges $15 a month. $15 a month for 24/7 professional monitoring, exactly the same quality, better. $15 a month, and there's no long-term contracts. I am not the only one who says Simply Safe's the best. U.S. News and World Report just said they're the best overall home security of 2020. They rated them all. Everybody agrees. Simply Safe. It was invented, frankly, because the other guys did such a terrible job. You want Simply Safe. Try Simply Safe today. SimplySafe.com/twit. Free shipping. And you know what I love about this? If you don't like it, you got a 60-day risk-free trial. Try it for 2 months and see. You're going to love it, though. I know you are. SimplySafe.com/twit. There's nothing to lose. Do it right now. We thank you, Simply Safe, for protecting us, doing the protection thing. Especially now, I get everybody's at home. I don't want anybody. I want to be protected. Simply Safe, it's one thing they rob you. Another thing they break in the house when you're there. No, you need Simply Safe. SimplySafe.com/twit. Thank you for supporting the Tech Guy. Thank you for supporting the Tech Guy by using that address. And do yourself a favor. Go there. Just check it out. SimplySafe.com/twit. 60-day money-back guarantee. No risk. Love them. Home security done right. Simply Safe. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. It must be Tech Guy time. Doug on the line from North Carolina. Hello, Doug. Leo Laporte here.
Hey, good to speak with you.
Good to speak with you, Doug.
So, speaking of things made in China with TikTok and issues with privacy and security, so I'm a Linux guy. I put links on everything. There's a distro I've been looking at called Deepin Linux, DEEPIN.
Yep. Very familiar with it.
I'm just curious what your thoughts on it are. I know most open source software is pretty safe and secure to use.
It wouldn't be my first choice because it's from China.
Well, in Wuhan, China, to boot. So I'm curious how open source and safe and secure a Chinese distro could be.
Well, it's probably fine, because it is open source. I don't think there's any proprietary or binary blobs in there you can't examine. And I'm presuming people are examining it. It's just that there are so many Linux distributions. Why not use what I really prefer in general? I honestly don't use Ubuntu for kind of the same reason. It's created by a company, Canonical. Right. And in the past, Ubuntu has put in things like, well, for a while, I think maybe even still today, there's an Amazon bookmark in there, which theoretically connects back to Amazon. They had, for a while, they sold something called Ubuntu One, which definitely connected back to Ubuntu. So I like to stay away from proprietary bits or bits that phone home. So I prefer, when I use Linux, to use community distros of Linux. That is, distributions of Linux, they're created by the user community. Because they seem less likely to have those kinds of surveillance bits in there. I think you're right. I think if you saw something in Deepin that you really wanted, you just thought it was the most beautiful thing ever. But that's one of the things about Linux is, you can make almost any Linux look like almost any other Linux. It's mostly a desktop environment and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
So
it doesn't look like Mac OS.
Yeah, if you want to do that, use Elementary. So there's lots of ways to do that. I prefer Debian and Arch, and Ubuntu's based on Debian, but I would stay away from the Ubuntu derivative just because I think that Canonical, and I don't think there's anything wrong with them. Mark Shuttleworth, the founder, and Canonical, I think are great, and they really did a lot to popularize Linux. But it's based on Debian. You get all the benefits of Debian. I don't think they've added anything that you need. Arch is a little hard to do because you build your own. And it's a rolling distro, which I personally like, which means it's constantly updated. The problem with long-term service versions of Debian and Ubuntu and other is that you won't always have the latest version of, say, Firefox or whatever tools you're using.
Right.
I always want the latest. And there's a risk inherent. You might have a problem with the latest. But that's why I use an Arch derivative called Manjaro, which is an easy-to-install Arch, basically.
I love Manjaro.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
I've also been using Arco Linux a little bit. I was concerned because there's a lot of noise pollution on the internet, different perspectives on it. You know, everybody's saying a lot of different, have a lot of different points of view as far as Deepin goes. I've got it on my wife's laptop because it's something easy for her to use since she's not used to using a continuous Linux-based distro. I use Arco Linux as well. But yeah, I think Manjaro is one of the best distros. But if there being a lot of noise pollution
for your wife, it might not be the best choice because it's a rolling update, and so it might. You have to be a little careful with Manjaro and other Arch distros because Manjaro is better than Arch because they hold on to these things before they update them. But there's always a chance you're going to get an update that gives you problems, and then you need to have some skills to fix it.
That's one reason I set her up with Deepin Linux for, because it's easy to use, it's no brainer, and it helps her get a lot of things done that she wants to do. And then I just stick with between Manjaro and Arco until she's used to using something a little bit more advanced.
I think that's fine. There's another one that is Ubuntu based, but is a little cleaner, from System 76, which is a company that makes Pop OS. They make Linux laptops. I think Pop OS. If I were setting up a computer for a novice, I'd probably set up Pop OS with GNOME. It's rock solid. They've done a great job. There are none of those little bits of Ubuntu in there anymore that, phone home. I think they've done a great job. But you're right. Deepin's beautiful. It's very much like Mac OS, and I've never heard of any problem. This is tough because there are certainly issues with China. Honestly, there are issues with many nations, including the U.S., spying on other people. That's what we do, too. So I understand people are concerned. On the other hand, some of the best software and hardware designers in the world are Chinese. And just as some of the best software designers in the world are Russian. So if it's open source, I think you're a little bit better off because other people are looking at the code. It's hard to hide a backdoor in an open source product, right?
Right.
So I think you're probably okay with Deepin. It seems a shame to me to just, and I don't think it's tenable in the modern world to just say, they're Chinese, forget it. Anything Chinese, I don't want it. I don't think that's going to work. You're going to have to give up your iPhone. You're going to have to give up a lot of, your computers. Your Lenovo is a Chinese company. You're going to be giving up a lot of stuff. And I don't think there's a good reason to do it. I really don't.
No, well, and I can't justify not using, not having my wife set with Deepin if I'm also trying something like a Rosa Linux that's made out of Russia and France.
Exactly. I think because it's open source, you're probably okay. It's an interesting question, and I don't think there's a definite yes or no. It makes me really nervous when I see our government ban things just because it's Chinese. I think...
Well, Huawei's a great example of that.
Yeah. Huawei, I understand a little more because if you said, look, we don't want any network infrastructure from Huawei, I would say, I understand. I think that's probably a good idea. Your 5G probably shouldn't be based on Huawei. But we also ban Huawei phones. And
right.
I don't think there's any problem with a Huawei phone, certainly no more than an iPhone or any other phone. So this is the problem, is if you say it's Chinese, it's bad, well, I'm not sure I can agree with that. We got to live in the world with them. We got to figure it out, And I think a lot of this, sad to say, is political. That's the real problem. It's not technical. It's political. This needs to be done by technical people because it's politics because we're in a trade war with China. The White House says, look over there, don't look at Russia. There's a whole thing going on, and it doesn't convince me of the righteousness of what's going on, and I feel like that's unfortunate. There are so many talented, creative American people doing amazing things on TikTok, and unless you can point to something really bad it's doing, I think you block it at your peril. I think that's a mistake. It's more harm than good.
Well, I'm looking at it like this. If you're concerned about things made in China, 90% of what you're seeing...
Good luck.
Even Android phones are made in China. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Good luck.
That means no morning coffee because your coffee maker is made out of China.
Good freaking luck, yeah.
And everything's online anymore.
And I don't,
light bulbs.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to try to bring manufacturing home to America, but it's not going to. It's never going to happen that we take it all back. That's not going to happen. And we don't want to build a wall around America. We don't want to. We have to live in the world. The best thing to do would be to have trade with other countries. Is the best way to break down those barriers. You're not going to have a war with a country that you rely on for trade. It's just not going to happen.
Open, honest, and fair trade. I think we live in the greatest country on the planet because of the things that we enjoy. But at the same time, we got to work with these other countries. And
precisely.
Wall ourselves off and say, oh, that's made in China. Like I said, I can't justify not having my wife set with a Deep in Linux distro because it's made out of China. And I'm also trying out Rosa, which is made with people from France and Russia. And I think Linux is a great uniter. You get people from all over the world working on these great distros.
Bingo. Right on. I think that's exactly right. And it's not unpatriotic. We love America. We're not saying we don't love America. It's just we live in the world. And, the problems that we are facing in the world have to be solved in the world. You can't have a one-nation solution to COVID-19. The whole world has to solve it.
I think if you have a fair exchange of business practices and ideas, it'd be nice to see manufacturing come back home. We need that. But I think if you have a good, fair exchange of business practices and products going on throughout the world, let the companies try and break down those walls, those barriers. And I think we're going to see a lot more success with businesses and companies and open source distros like this than we would with government. That's how you
open the doors to relations with these countries. If we become partners with them, they can't be enemies. They want a strong United States because we're a big market for them. They want our soybeans. We want their electronics. It works. Well, and then you can sit down at the table and say, hey, don't steal our intellectual property. Then you have, otherwise you have no leverage to sit down with them.
Well, I have an old Lenovo T500 laptop that I've touched.
I love my Lenovos. I'm never giving up my Lenovos. These are the best laptops made.
Running on it.
Right.
And it's not made to handle more than 8 gigs of memory, so I have 6 gigs in it.
It's perfect.
Even with 6 gigs, Deepin runs like a top. It runs better than some other Linux distros.
I'm going to have to give it a try now. You convinced me.
20 years yeah.
I got to run because I got Johnny here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
Hey,
see ya. He's been everywhere, man, but he ain't going anywhere right now, man, because he's Johnny Jett, our traveling guy, and he's sitting right here by my side. He's wearing a red hat that says Johnny's, but it comes from somewhere else. Hello, Johnny Jett.
How you doing, Leo?
I am doing great.
Yes, my sister Georgette sent me this Johnny's hat, which is a famous record store that I used to go growing up. It's in Darien, Connecticut. Moby used to work there. All kinds of celebrities have been there. It's just like an old school, funky.
How's it doing these days?
You know what? I didn't know it was still around until she sent me this hat, and I just looked it up, and it's still going strong.
Nice.
And that's where I read that Moby used to work there, and all the two guys from Kiss went in there. I just put a link in the chat.
I miss record stores. When I was growing up, when I was in college, I worked at a record store in Santa Cruz, Odyssey Records, and I loved it. I loved doing it. Loved the music, loved the vibe, loved the people who came in. It was all about finding new tracks, new sounds. It was so much fun.
It's where I'd spend my allowance when I was,
Yeah. I'll miss those. Teen. I miss those, But this is the new world. Everything's virtual. That's one of the reasons I like travel, because it's concrete. You go somewhere. You can't. People say, "Oh, you're going to be wearing those glasses and you're going to be virtually traveling." No, I want to have a coffee in Paris on the Champs-Élysées.
I'm with you.
So, it's the best coffee ever, and it's not because it's so good. It's just because it's where you were sitting. At the De Magot or somewhere, and you're enjoying that, and you're sitting there, and you think Jean-Paul Sartre used to sit here, and he'd be writing. That's what I want, the physical experience. I miss that.
You. Yesterday on my podcast, I interviewed Steve Perillo from Perillo Tours.
Oh, yeah. Man, I've been seeing his ads for years.
His father, Mario Perillo, I grew up with them. It was Mr. Italy.
Yeah.
And actually, I haven't dropped the interview yet. I'm going to today. But anyway, he was saying that, next year is going to be slow, but 2022 is going to be gangbusters, is what he's predicting.
I agree. Lisa said last night, where's the first place we're going? Yeah, and I don't think it'll be next year. I agree with you. I want it to be really safe. I don't want to be wearing a mask while I'm sitting at the cafe. I want it to be really safe. But I think we're going to go to Paris. She said it has to start in Paris. I said, okay.
So what do you think the ultimate travel trip is? If you could go on any kind of trip, what would you say is the ultimate? I'll tell you what it is.
You tell me, because I have so many things. You know what? That was that was on the list. In fact, I sent her a bookmark. My friends at Uniworld, I love the Uniworld River Cruises. They own a new company that does an Africa trip. You start in South Africa and you end in Cairo. It's all the way up. Some of it's on the river. You do a Nile trip, but you also get to see the safari. And I said, Lisa, this we should do this.
Well, I've been on a bunch of Uniworld.
I love their
river cruises. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're owned by the Travel Corp, which they have like 30 different travel brands.
That explains it, because this was I guess a sister brand.
And he's South African. The owner is South African. I know him. I'm friends with him. He's a great guy, and so it doesn't surprise me. But my website today is not one of their companies. It is actually a YouTube channel from And Beyond. I put it in the show notes, and I put it in the chat room, and I tweeted it. But, these days you do have to travel virtually because it's not safe to travel internationally. Even if you wanted to travel internationally, there's not a lot of places Americans can go.
They won't let you. Yeah.
No. I mean, in Europe, you can go to Turkey and Serbia, but it's a challenge to get there. And I don't know if you really want to do it. And I just don't think it's responsible right now. So, my advice is just stay home, sit tight, and save your money and get ready to see the world. But this is one of the coolest things I found on YouTube. It's they do live safaris twice a day, actual game drives.
Oh, you're watching it on YouTube, but you're
it's live.
Oh, that's cool. It's a lot cheaper than going there, I guess.
Yeah, if you pay, I think it's $200, you can actually communicate with the driver and have your own safari. Otherwise, if you don't want to pay, you just listen in to what other people you can't hear what the other people are asking, but you can hear the guide say, well, the question is, and then he'll talk about it. And they go to different. This
is smart of them, taking advantage of, they're able to do something.
Fast forward to some other things and you can see it. Go to an old one. Actually, it was this morning. And there'll be another one now. But
there's an elephant. So this is what you would do if you went to Africa or Tanzania or somewhere in Africa, and you got in a Jeep and they would drive you out and you'd go look for wildlife.
And they're doing they have multiple guides out in multiple different parts of the continent. So they'll switch if the internet's not great at one place. But surprisingly, it is. And fortunately, I've been on many safaris, and it's the best. And I really can't wait to take my kids. But
I'm going to get your advice on the best one to go on. My travel agent.
One time I was in Africa, and it was the same view as this, and all of a sudden, the driver's like the spotter sits on the hood, and there's a driver, and the spotter just jumped up. He's like, a snake just crawled in, and I was like, what? And I jumped up. So,
oh man!
But it's just a great way to learn wildlife if you have kids, and you just get to experience it right now. I mean, you could never have done this before. That's the best thing about this pandemic is that so many people so many companies have become creative.
I love it, and I do think we're going to fold a lot of this creativity into future life. So I think it's going to be a richer world when we come out of this. And this is one of the things. I mean, it's great.
And they're trying to, this is from And Beyond.
And Beyond on YouTube.
I'm sorry?
Wild Watch. It's And Beyond on YouTube. That's their name of their channel.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And I've done a tiger safari in India with them, which was incredible. But
wow,
African,
I'd love to do that too.
Best.
Wow.
And I did that with Mikado. Mikado I feel, is like the best company you can go with for safaris. But this is what you got to do. This has got to be one of your goals when this is over.
It is. I got a lot of goals, though. I got a lot of traveling to do. I'm not done, man. I don't want to stop now. I've been in a lot of places, but not as many as Johnny Jett. I want to go in more places so I can catch up with you, Johnny Jett.
For sure. So also there's a big sale right now. Alaska Airlines has a buy one, get one offer. It ends tomorrow. I just tweeted it, put it in the chat room. Is
this the best time? I mean, if all other things being equal, is this the cheapest time ever to travel? Probably.
It's not necessarily that cheap.
Really?
Which is surprising because, they realize that a lot of the people who have to travel are going to spend the money regardless. And a lot of the general public is not, but you can always find deals no matter what time. If you buy 3 weeks in advance, you should be able to find a great deal. If you're buying last minute, you're not going to find a good deal.
So those $8 trips to Australia and things like that were early on, those are gone.
Yeah, and you can't even go to Australia right now.
Well, that's the other problem. Yeah.
There's not a lot of places we can go. We can't even go to Canada. My wife's Canadian. No. We can't go.
Yeah.
So hopefully it gets better, and then the world will open up. But if you do have to travel, check out Alaska Airlines sale. It's good for Hawaii. It's good 2 for 1. I mean, and they block the middle, so you have a whole row to yourself.
Nice.
But actually next week we can talk about which the best airline is to fly during COVID. And I just wrote a post. I haven't published it yet.
Oh, let's do that next week. Yeah. Let's go. Let's do that next week. Yeah.
But one of the airlines, by the way, is Southwest. Although this week they came out and said they're not going to clean the armrests and seats in the tray table between each flight, which is surprising right now. Which
Why
they
not?
were. Now they're just
too
doing
much
it every
trouble.
night.
Too much work.
Actually, they say they're no longer wiping down seatbelts, seats, and armrests between every flight.
Because you probably can't get the wipes anymore. Is probably what the problem is.
It just takes too much time. It costs money. So bring your own wipes, everybody.
Do it yourself.
But Southwest does block the seats, just like Delta right now. So if you do have to fly, you have no status on other airlines, I would fly one of those 3.
Okay.
And JetBlue.
But
so
next
Delta,
week,
Southwest, or JetBlue.
Johnny Jett's going to tell us the best airline to travel if you have to travel during COVID. We'll hold on. I'm going to hold you to that. JohnnyJett.com is his website. He's got a great podcast there, JohnnyJett.com/podcast. Of course, you can follow him on his YouTube channel. He does 39 questions. Coming up, the Perillo family. That's cool. Can't wait to hear that. I've been seeing their ads since I was a kid. And, of course, he joins us every week. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.
Nowadays, though, and I don't, look, all I know is what I read. But nowadays, it seems like they're moving in the direction of saying, it's really the aerosol particles that's the problem. The air, not the surfaces so much. It's the air.
That's why the airlines are banning the masks with the valves in them.
Yeah, well, that's a bad idea.
Well, I never knew that until Delta banned it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Because there's no filtering outbound. It's only inbound.
Yeah.
Let's be selfish.
The airlines have now caught on to that, and now they're banning those.
Good.
And they also, last week, someone tried to get on an American plane. I think it was American flight, and she had, a 4-letter swear word over the mask.
Yeah, and they wouldn't let her on with that.
Something else. It's like, come on, people.
Come on. Get an American flag or something. If someone had a
T-shirt like that, I'd be offended.
Yeah, I agree.
I got little kids. Anyway.
The FOMI issue it's not clear, but it seems less of an issue than they were making it. It really seems to be about air. Once it lands on a surface, it dies very quickly, is what I've been reading. So,
and that's great news. I mean, listen, I want to get out there. So tempted to get on a plane, but there's really not a lot of places we can.
I ain't going nowhere. It's okay. I was saying earlier, Lisa and I bit the bullet, and we booked a couple of nights in a hotel in Napa. The reason we're going there, it's a Calistoga Ranch, is because it's cabins. So you stay in the cabin. There's no one near you. And we already told them, all the meals, you're going to bring it to the cabin. We're going to sit there. You're not coming in. We're just going to leave them at the door, and we're going to eat there. And we're going to go on hikes and stuff. And so I figured that's safe. And at least we'll get away.
I just spoke to my buddy who owns Post Ranch Inn. You can't get in there. He says it's
jammed?
They're full. They're full right now.
They have cabins too, right? You're not in a...
Yeah, they're all independent. I mean, this is high end.
That's the way to go. Well, so is Calistoga Ranch. It's where Lisa and I got married too, so it's a little bit of a romantic thing.
So, yeah, this is what's hot right now, where you're not connected, you're not in a hotel, you're not going through a lobby.
Yeah, there's no lobby.
You're not riding the elevator.
Yep.
And that's what people want. And glamping is huge right now.
Glamping.
Dude ranches.
Yeah. So you can still do stuff.
Get into these places.
That's interesting. So he's all booked up. That's really interesting. How about the Sausalito one? The
Cavallo Point?
Yeah. Is that booked up too?
You know what? I forgot to ask about that, but they do a lot of MICE business, like meetings and conventions. So
they can't be doing that.
I can't imagine they're booked up because they're a much larger hotel.
Yeah.
but they're not like a big building.
Oh, I love Caballo Point, but
it's a great place.
Yeah, I love it.
I just can't see them being full.
But I could see Post Ranch because it's cabins, and same thing with.
And it's 40. I think it's 40
Calistoga
rooms.
Ranch. Calistoga Ranch is an auberge property, so it's a high-end property too. It's nice.
Totally.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Beautiful.
Have you ever stayed there?
No, I'd like to stay there.
When this is all over,
I haven't spent a lot of time in Northern California in the last 20 years, except just
you
for a couple
always say
days.
at Caballo Point. That's why.
I mean, I always go to Caballo, but that's different.
Johnny, please be well. Give my love to Natalie and the kids, and I know you're doing great. So
thank you. Take care.
I know it's tough, but hang in there. And your sis is fine now.
Yeah, they're good. She still has a little bit of breathing problems, but she's alive.
She survived.
Yep.
Does she now go out and about and say, I'm immune?
Yeah, she goes out. I mean, she's been tested. She's already had 2 negatives, and it's been over a month.
But I mean, does she not worry about getting it? Because
no. Yeah, she does. She's still cautious.
We don't know yet, do we?
She's getting more cautious now than she was before.
All right. Yeah, Ventana's beautiful, too. I love Ventana. Thank you, Johnny. See ya. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, line 1. Randy in North Hollywood. Hi, Randy.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What can I do for you?
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yay!
So, Leo, my credit cards have been hacked.
Oh, dear. I'm sorry.
Sure. And it's
more than one?
Kind of weird. Yeah.
All of them?
3 cards and 1 debit card from my bank.
Oh, that's a lot. Are the credit cards all with the same company, or are they with a variety of different?
No, they're different companies.
Oh, that's bad. How would they get all your credit card numbers?
Well, that's my question. I do all my purchasing. I do Amazon. I do all that stuff on my phone.
And do you use different credit cards at one place, or most people you have an Amazon card, and you don't.
Well, I have 4 Amazon cards. Not 4, 2 or 3 Amazon cards.
Were they all hacked?
Stored onto Amazon.
And were they all hacked?
Yeah, they're all hacked. I don't know if it was hacked from Amazon.
Okay.
From Amazon.
Well, that's what we're looking for, is a common thread. Obviously, somebody got a place where you had stored all those numbers.
Yeah. Now, this is what I'm thinking. I also have I work from home like the rest of the world, and I have my work computer, which is usually on a VPN. Is that right? Virtual
private network. Yep.
Yeah, and that's for my work.
Yep.
And I have all my cards also stored on Google. So my question is this: all my cards are blocked. I've blocked them all. And I'm waiting for the new cards.
So you got a call from the various card companies saying, "Hey, these suspicious purchases, they have algorithms." My friend John Dvorak said, one of the algorithms is if you want to get your card pulled, buy gas twice at the same location. And then buy some sneakers. And of course, that looks like somebody got a card and has his friends both fill up and then buy sneakers. He said, if you want that, your card will get pulled because that triggers the algorithm. So something like that. That's the good news is very often when that happens, they call you, they stop it. You don't owe any money. Sounds like that's what happened.
Right. Now, this all happened yesterday, and I was home all day. Okay, so I got text messages saying, hey, does this charge in Tacoma or wherever it was for Diffie's?
Yeah.
Diffie's,
so you want to look for any location that had all of the cards that were hacked. So because that's what it looks like, is somewhere all those numbers were stored, whether it's Amazon or Google or somewhere, all those numbers or a password manager maybe, all those numbers were stored. That's what got hacked. Is there a place where they all were besides your home computer?
On my phone.
So it's possible that your phone or your computer got hacked.
Well, I'm thinking it's the phone. Now, my question is going forward. I've done all the blocking of the cards. I went online today. I changed my Google password, and I'm going to change all my passwords because quite honestly, I've been, I've been taking all the security stuff for granted. I think, I don't have that much money.
This is weird. This is not identity theft. You know, people hear about identity theft. That's where somebody takes out cards in your name. This is not that.
Right.
This is somebody got your. Not only did they get your credit card numbers, they got expiration dates and the security code.
Right.
That's
right. Well, no, because you don't really. Oh, yeah, you do need.
Almost always when you use it the first time, you need to use that code.
Yeah.
Now. If your wallet got lost and all the cards were in your wallet, that would be the first.
Nope.
Nope.
I have all my cards. So anyway, going forward, I need to know. I went online today to try to figure out where to start. I want to start over. So I guess do I need to call my cell phone company and get a new phone or get a new SIM card?
I think if you wipe the phone, it's sufficient. Have you? What kind of phone?
I don't want to wipe it.
What kind of phone?
Plus, I had all my passwords on my phone.
Yeah. Is it Android or iOS?
Android.
What's the make?
Samsung.
Okay. And it's relatively recent?
It's through a prepaid carrier.
Okay, so it's probably less secure Samsung. There is a known Android hack that affects all versions of Android up to Android 8. It was just recently patched. Android is not the most secure thing in the world. I got to think, have you downloaded lately any weird apps, like wallpaper apps or fart sounds or anything strange like that?
No, not really. No,
it sounds to me like somebody got into your phone. And Android, it's possible with Android. It's not very common, but it is possible because Android is... The problem with Android is if you're not using the latest version and you're not getting regular security updates, you could be vulnerable. Plus, there are in the stores and the Google Play Store, there are malicious software. Google removes it as soon as it discovers it, and usually that's pretty quick. That's in a timely fashion. But it's conceivable that one of two things happened: that either your phone got hacked because of a flaw in it, or that you downloaded a program that was malicious and it got into your... Where were these stored? How were they stored on your phone?
What, the cards?
Yeah.
I had the cards stored on Google Pay, and Amazon.
Boy, that doesn't... It
Those
just...
are the two places.
I think I don't know how this happened. You were right to be fairly sanguine. This is not that likely. So,
I don't know what to do going forward so this doesn't happen again.
One of the things I do because of this is I use a service. They've been a sponsor. I don't know if they're a sponsor currently. They've been a sponsor called Privacy.com. And they let you set up credit cards that are tied to the merchant. So they can only be used at that merchant, or they can only be used once. Now, there is a risk with Privacy.com. If somebody got into your Privacy.com account, they'd have access to all those numbers.
Right.
But I use that. They're burner cards, basically. And the downside is, and it does add to the risk a little bit, it takes it directly from your bank account. They're not charge cards, they're debit cards.
Right.
And so there's a little less protection on a debit card. I use it, though, whenever I buy online now, because the minute I use it with a merchant, let's say I buy a phone from Verizon, that card now will only work with Verizon. Plus, I can go into the privacy dashboard and pause it or disable it or delete it. So I have full control of it. I can see if it's got a decline comes in. I can know, somebody tried to use that Verizon card at T-Mobile. That's been hacked because it won me, and I can immediately delete that card. So you have a lot more control over it. I would take a look at that.
Okay. So in other words, you're tying Privacy.com to your card or to your checking account?
To either a debit card or a checking account. So that's the negative. Some people don't like that because there's less protection that way. I've not had any problems, and I feel like that this is a real level of security for me. I have other credit cards, but it's so much easier if you use a burner card to say, well, throw it out. It's also great for subscriptions because if it's easier to cancel a subscription by turning off the card.
I do subscriptions. I do everything on my phone.
Yeah, and you're giving away that card every time you use it, and then you don't know if somebody got breached, because breaches are happening all the time now.
Right.
The fact, though, that you've got 5 cards cracked the same day is a pretty strong indicator that what was cracked was something where they're all stored at the same time. And boy, if it was Google or Amazon, that's scary. That's really scary.
And that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Big Brother right there, too. Now, I went on 1Password this morning, and my gosh, that is confusing.
I use LastPass, another sponsor, but a password vault where you store your cards is a good idea. But it's going to be the same problem as anywhere that all the cards are stored. You make sure that that's super secure because that's your vulnerability. You got to make sure 1Password is fine. Yeah, and you're right. It adds a little complexity. I do it for passwords, but I also store cards. And as I said, I use LastPass, but 1Password, LastPass, Bitwarden. There are quite a few of these. All those three are the three I generally mention. They're going to do a good job of storing your credit cards. They're very unlikely to be hacked. And then what I would suggest is using burner cards with every online merchant. So worst case scenario, that merchant might, if Amazon got hacked, somebody could buy something, but they can only buy it on Amazon. They can't buy gas. They can't buy shoes. They can only buy stuff. Well, they can buy shoes on, but they can only buy them on Amazon. And it's easy to turn off. That's my recommendation. That's a scary thing. There are other companies that will do this. Capital One has Eno, another sponsor, has Eno, which is the same idea of virtual cards. Discover, I think, does that. American Express, I think, will do that. I like the idea, though, of privacy because I make dozens of cards a month anytime I shop online. I'm giving them a free ad, but honestly, that's what I use. They have a free tier. I do the $10 a month tier because you get cash back, and I use it enough that I get more cash back than I spend, so it's better than free. They pay me. And then, of course, they buy ads or have in the past. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, Ask Leo. Boy, that is a scary thing. I'm just really racking my brain to think what could have happened.
Yeah, are you there?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I had to take a break.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Are you saying to actually wipe the phone clean? That's what I need to do?
Well, if there's malware on the phone, yes, that will do it. It's a Samsung. Do you remember what model it is?
I think it's I don't know, A25 something.
Yeah, it's an A series. So probably that is an older version of Android, and it's not being patched.
It is.
Yeah.
It is an older version.
So that's certainly a cause for concern.
Okay, so wiping it clean, how do you do that?
That won't fix it because you still have the flaw.
Oh.
I mean, it'll fix it until you get it again, in other words.
So what about a new SIM card?
Nope. No.
No?
It's hard to. I can't tell you exactly what's wrong, but So, for instance, Qualcomm just announced that there was a vulnerability that affects all Android phones except for the most recent ones. And as an example, and this happens all the time, and these it's because it has a Qualcomm chip in it, and it can't be fixed.
Great.
So
that's great.
It turns the phone into. I'll talk about this on the air. It's devastating. I don't know if that's what bit you. I don't know what bit you. This is a highly unlikely circumstance.
Yeah, what do I do? What?
I'd get a new phone that's secure. In fact, if you really want to be secure, I'd get an iPhone.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I think Android phones are great. I love them, but they're not secure. They're just not secure.
Yeah. So nothing's for
well, you can wipe it.
Passwords.
You can wipe it. You can wipe it, but if they got into your phone once, they get into it again because it won't fix. They're not still in there, but they won't fix the thing that let them in the first place.
Oh, it could happen again.
It could happen again.
All right. Well, listen, thank you. Hey, I got to say, it's great watching you while listening to you. I've been able to do that. I love your room there. It's awesome.
Isn't this cool? It's the best best radio studio ever. I got so sick of sterile, sealed radio studios, so I built my own.
And
got all my toys. Oh, yeah. This is because we're going to talk to Dick in an hour, and he just sent me the last two magazine mads. Yeah, these are the final Mad magazines.
I grew up in the 70s. So
me too.
Right
yeah.
In my era.
Yeah. Oh, man, I read all of them. 35 cents cheap.
It's really great talking to you. Your show is awesome.
Oh,
I love you.
Thank you. I love you too, Randy. Thank you. God bless you.
Take good care.
Take care. All right.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you work in Hollywood? You work in the movie biz?
No, not at all. I work in distribution.
Okay.
Business development.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Hey, take care of yourself.
You're kind of in the biz.
Yeah. I sell to the biz.
All right. That's close enough. It's a company town.
Yeah. I mean, I live close by, right?
Yeah, it's a company town. All right, Randy. Take care.
Hey, take care, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, augmented reality, chips, pins, and all that. 8888 Ask Leo's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Website, techguylabs.com. So I'm thinking more about this Randy call, our last call, Randy from North Hollywood, who had this, in one day, all 5 credit cards stolen. 5 of them. Wow, that just, very bad luck. Yeah, I guess. That's one advantage the Apple card has. Apple has a credit card, and it's an average credit card in terms of cash back and all that stuff, but it has one advantage, which is it doesn't give the credit card number to a merchant. It just gives a token. Now, merchants have to accept it. If they don't, then you will give your one and only credit card number because it has a number associated with it. But in general, when you use it on tap to pay, when you use it online, if it says pay with Apple Pay, things like that, they don't get any information about you or your credit card number. They just get a token, which is a lot more secure. That can't be reused. That's just a one-time token. Problem is, a lot of the merchants you're going to deal with these days still require a number, a credit card number. It's an inherently insecure system. It really is. It was bad enough. I mean, until recently, until last year, the only security was your signature, which is meaningless, right? I mean, nobody looks at your signature. And the truth is, most likely the signature is just so that you can look at the charge slip and say, yeah, I signed that, not so much to prove you are who you are. So until last year, all you really needed was somebody's credit card number, expiration date, and security number, that 3-digit or 4-digit security number. And you didn't need a physical card or anything. You could just charge up like crazy. It's inherently insecure. It's a convenience with very little security. That's why the credit card companies and the banking laws protect you. You can, against big losses on your credit card. It's not a secure system. Last year, they started introducing these security chips. That was mostly to make it hard to print a fake credit card. And you know what? It isn't that hard. Bad guys, of course, immediately figured out how to do it. Duplicate the chip and all that. So it's a little bit better in security. But it's still chip and signature, which is not very secure. In Europe, it's chip and pin, so you have the card, it's two-factor security in effect. It's something you have, the physical card with the chip in it, and you can see the chip on the card, right? There's that chip there. That's encoded into the chip is the credit card number, other information, security information that's unique to that card and to you. So when you put it in there, the card reader reads the chip and it knows, oh, this is you. Here's all your information. And it's hard to fake. It's hard to counterfeit. But that's one part. The other part in Europe is you also have to know something right? Multi-factor authentication is using 2 or more of these 3 things. Something you know, something you have, something you are, biometrics. So this is a good system, the chip and pin. It's actually the way your ATM has always worked. You had to have the ATM card, put that in, even if it's just a mag stripe, and then you had to know the pin. 2 factors, something you have, the physical card, something you know, the PIN. That's, more than twice as secure. Problem is, most credit card transactions in this country only require the credit card number and its expiration date and that security number. That's it. Not even something you have. Just some information, some basic information which is easily leaked and stolen. And I guess that's what happened to Randy. Still don't have any idea how that could have happened, to be honest. But it did. How can we be more secure? Well, we're kind of, the good news is the credit card company absorbs the loss. So that's how they've solved this. But it'd be nice not to have to get new cards and all of that stuff. So how can we be more secure? Well, the Apple Card is one solution. It's touch to pay. So that's really, that's pretty secure. You touch your phone to the terminal. Often it will ask you for a PIN. That's up to the credit card company, not to anybody else. But if the credit card company says, let's make this more secure, enter the PIN. I know it's annoying, and it's not touchless anymore, but it's nice because that's really secure. And you're not giving the grocery store your credit card number. You're just giving them a token. So that's more private and more secure. It can't be stolen from the grocery store. I don't know. This is just something we're in the middle of. I don't know what the solution is to make this more secure. And of course, the bad guys are getting smarter and trickier and more aggressive. And so it's getting to be more and more of a problem. I have to say that, when we were talking to Randy, one of the things I mentioned is there's a now just revealed by Qualcomm significant flaw in the chips in most older Android phones. The new phones are not susceptible. The older Android phones, big problem, big flaw. It's mostly been fixed if you're getting updates. But most older Android phones are not getting updates. And so those phones are really at risk. But even then, these flaws are not of the nature that somebody's going to attack 1 million people. Well, I guess they could. If you're going to steal somebody's credit card numbers, you're going after Randy. You're going after that. You're saying, how can I get Randy's credit card numbers and then use them? You need to know his name, for one thing. That's what's on the card. You need to know that. So he was the subject of a targeted attack. The only good news, not good news for Randy, but for everybody else, is most of us are not subject of targeted attacks. Most bad guys cast a wide net. They make more money that way. They look for instance, and this is a problem on Android, all right, we're going to make a malicious app that takes advantage of these flaws and then sends us a bunch of credit card numbers. That's not that useful. That's why ransomware is so big. There's an example. We're going to encrypt all the data on the computer and then say, hey, pay us $100 in Bitcoin or 1,000 or 1 million. Or as in the case of Garmin, I think it was $6 million. $6 million. And Garmin paid. So some bad guy got a happy payday. Probably that even was a target attack. Probably he, in order to get into Garmin's system, probably had to work on it, work against Garmin. But a lot of the malware that you see that we see day to day on our computers is kind of a broad attack. And so, actually, it might have been as much as $10 million Garmin paid. Wow. We don't know the exact number because Garmin's too embarrassed to admit it. I don't blame them. Sky News is saying it was $10 million. $10 million. Garmin was sent a decryption key, which worked. And put them back online. The problem with Garmin is that none of their wearables worked when their servers were down. So if you had a Garmin device, a Garmin watch or whatever, it didn't work because the servers were down. That's probably a targeted attack. Targeted attacks are the most dangerous, but the least common because it's a lot of work. So you and I, we're just average Joes. We're not, movie stars. We're not government agents. We're not politicians. We're probably okay. We're just going to get the drive-bys, and that's a little bit easier to protect against, to be honest. It's terrifying, huh? I feel bad, Randy. I wish I had a better answer for you. I just don't. I just don't know what the answer is. I'm baffled by the Randy thing. I am just baffled by it. Yeah, no, I know. They've been using chip and pin in Europe forever. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Everyday people Just you and me hanging out talking tech. Let's go back to the phones and line 4, which is Matt in Portland, Oregon. Hello, Matt.
Hi.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm working on my mother-in-law's computer. She was tricked into allowing a so-called Microsoft Tech, I believe.
Oh, no.
Remote access.
Oh.
And while he was dinking around on the computer, she called me and asked me what I thought, and I said, pull the plug.
Yeah, immediately. Good.
And she did, and that's where it's been sitting, collecting dust ever since. The only thing she was concerned about was pulling photos off, which I already did and sent it to her. Now I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to fix this, and
So these scams, and they are scams. Microsoft does not call you. They don't put pop-ups on your screen. But it's a very common scam. I've gotten the calls myself many, many times. They generally have several purposes. The first thing they'll do is, hello, I'm calling from Windows. And we see you have a problem on your computer. Oh, what? What, really? Yeah. And then they walk you through launching the event log, the event manager. And they say, do you see any red X's or yellow triangles? Well, yes, I see quite a few because it's normal to see those. But it confirms, they're working with you. They're working you. It confirms their allegation, at least in your mind, that there's something wrong with your computer. All right, we can fix it. Now, here's the first thing, the first scam. They ask you for money. Did she pay them?
I believe they were at a point where she was being asked.
That's probably why she called you, right? They want money now. Yeah. So that's one way they get you. And by the way, when they get you, they not only get the $300 initial payment, they'll also get your credit card number, right?
Yeah.
So that's a risk. So she didn't do that. That's good news. The second tier of this attack, and it doesn't always happen, just depends, is they ask for remote access. Now, when they get remote access, and by the way, legitimate tech support people will also do this. This is a normal tech support thing, but these guys are not legitimate. One of the things they can do during this remote access, as you very well know, is they could put malware on your system. That is becoming less and less likely. That's a very labor-intensive thing. It's much easier just to take a credit card and move on. It's labor-intensive because now they've got something on your system, and they've got to monitor it. They got to download. They got to exfiltrate. They got other stuff to do. So that's kind of. I think that's less likely. However, how long did they get access to her system?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's plenty of time for them to do all sorts of, malicious things. And here's the problem. You just don't know. And if they put something on her system that's going to do like what happened to Randy, exfiltrate her credit cards or something, you don't want that to happen. Watch her while she's logging onto her bank, log her keystrokes, and then log on for her. You don't want that to happen. So the first thing to do is assume that computer is infected. And now what you're going to do is what you would do anytime you think you've got malware on a computer. You're going to back up your data, make sure she's got a good backup. You don't want to lose those photos. You don't want to lose anything else. You can run, and if you brought it into the Geek Squad or something like this, they probably would run programs like Malwarebytes to find the malware and remove it. My problem, the reason I don't recommend that is it doesn't guarantee 100% removal. And if I'm a bad guy, if I'm this guy and I have 20 minutes access, I'm going to put something obvious on there. And then I'm going to put something less obvious on there. Perhaps a rootkit, something that Malwarebytes doesn't see. Because I know if you run Malwarebytes, you'll go, oh, it's all clear. I got it. Malwarebytes says there's nothing left. And you'll go on. And now I do have access to your computer forever. So it just depends on how cagey these guys are. And again, it comes down to percentages. Well, do you want to take the chance that maybe Malwarebytes removed 90% of it, but something's still left? I don't. In my opinion, if you really want to be careful, you would, at this point, format the drive. You would erase everything and reinstall Windows. That's why you did the backup. You reinstall. There's going to be other benefits. This is a pain in the butt, and you're the one who's going to be doing it, not her. So it's up to you. It's a pain in the butt. But what you'll be doing is Is she Windows 10?
Yeah, it was a Windows 8 machine that automatically updated.
Perfect.
To Windows.
So
10.
easy to do. You go. Microsoft offers a Windows 10 installer that you can put on a USB key. It's a good thing for you to have. Anyway, you go. It's called the Microsoft Media Creation Utility. You can Google it. It'll come. Only get it from Microsoft.com, obviously, and it'll put Windows 10 on a USB key, which you can then bring over, reboot your machine to the USB key, install Windows. Make sure you completely delete everything on her drive. I would even delete all the partitions and start over. The advantage is going to nice, clean Windows 10 install. She will then have to, or you will have to, reinstall any programs she uses. So when you're backing up the data, you might want to get all the serial numbers or disks together, whatever it is you need. And then now the advantage is going to nice, clean computer. The real advantage is you now know with almost 100% certainty there's nothing on it. I'm sad to say, there are things that people could put on your computer if they're really nasty that hide in things like the non-volatile RAM or in a video card. It's possible to do stuff to your computer that is much more difficult to remove than just formatting. But that's pretty unlikely. She doesn't work for the NSA, the CIA, or the FBI. She's probably okay. So I know you don't want to do this, and I don't blame you. But really,
what I want to do is I want to format it. But if I format the entire drive, I don't have a Windows 10 key.
You don't need it. Now, here's the beauty part. That's why I asked you. When you download that media creation tool, once you have an authenticated version of Windows 10 on any machine, and so just check, look in the system properties, make sure it's authenticated. You could type Windows key WinVer and see the version. If it's authenticated, you just wipe the whole thing because that media creation tool will reinstall Windows 10 and it will authenticate. Microsoft keeps track of it. They say, oh, I know that machine. You don't need a serial number.
Okay. So I've got C and D drive. Obviously, D drive is the 8 recovery. I want to
nuke it all. Nuke it all. You want to back up all data and nuke it all because they could hide anything anywhere as long as they had access to it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. In most cases, I mean, it's kind of up to you. You could run Malwarebytes or even just do a thorough scan with the Windows malware detection tool. And if nothing shows up, which in most cases is the case, these guys, all they want is the credit card most of the time. It's a lot of work for them to put that stuff on there and monitor it and all that stuff. So it's you have to kind of decide how important it is. It's a lot of work to reinstall Windows. The advantage is you'll be getting rid of all that crapware, Windows 8 partition, all that stuff. She'll now have a Windows 10 recovery partition. It automatically puts that on there. So she'll have a much more reliable system.
Okay, so it using the thumb drive format is the complete format part of the install, or do I?
No, you have to do options. Then you get to the partition manager. You can delete all partitions. I would do that. Reformat all the partitions, NTFS, and then follow the install. I think you have to do options. It's in there. It's part of that installer, but you have to specifically go down that route.
Okay.
And that, it sounds like you do this for other people too, Matt. I'm suspecting you might do it for yourself someday. It's good to have that USB key with the media creation tool on it. It's good to have that.
I have no problems doing that. I just...
Truth is, the hardest part is the backup and getting all the apps installed. It'll take 10 minutes to reinstall Windows, to wipe the drive and reinstall Windows. It's fast. And she'll get a better machine because it's clean now. Right?
Yeah. The pictures were the only thing that were necessary. And
you got those?
Yeah.
Good. I think you're good. You have my deepest sympathies. All I can say is, Matt, we've all been there.
We've all stepped in those holes before.
Yeah. It's the geek life, man.
A thought about Randy's stolen credit card.
Yeah, what do you think? How could that have happened?
Family, a friend, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's much more likely somebody got his wallet. Much more likely that than somebody hacked into Google or Amazon. So I agree with you. It's much more likely.
That's why I have an iPhone, is because I feel like they're
much more secure. Yeah. I think that's the only red flag, is he has a very old Samsung Android phone. That's always a vulnerability for sure.
Here's another thought: is Windows 10 still require virus scan?
Nope, it's got a built-in Defender. It's very good.
So I don't have to download.
I do not recommend any antivirus on there. No. 10 is pretty good. 10 is done. It's as good as Windows gets. I'm not a Windows fan. It's as good as Windows gets. Windows and Android are similar. They're very flexible. They let us geeks do whatever we want, but with that comes a certain amount of risk and pain.
I know.
And, that's the problem. I think it's likely she didn't get affected, but this is a chance to make it very clean and nice.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. It's just she's since moved on to a Chromebook.
Much better choice. Now when the guy calls, I'm calling from Windows, she could say, I don't have it. Go away. I get that call. I haven't gotten one recently, but I used to get that call all the time. And, dude, I don't even use Windows. Go away. Just don't bother me. Don't bother me. Matt, I'm sorry. You must like your aunt. You got nominated for this duty. You got IT duty.
I'm retired, so I've got...
Ah, good. It's fun. It's a nice thing to do for family. Got to run. Thank you, sir. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Dick DeBartolo coming up. Our geek guy, our giz guy, giz whiz. 8888 Ask Leo. Until then, I wanted to talk, maybe I'll have to do it tomorrow, about the Samsung announcements. I'm trying to decide, honestly. They've got the second version of the folding phone, the Galaxy Fold. It's the Galaxy Z Fold 2, they're calling it. I don't know what the Z has to do with anything, but anyway, that's the name. And it's nice. I mean, it's looks like a normal phone on the front, normal Android phone. It's thick because it's a book. You open it up, and then it opens up to a 7-inch screen. But the screen is a folding screen, and it's got a little tiny crease down the middle because of where the fold is. I don't know. And it's really expensive. It's like $1,950 or something. It's almost $2,000. What do you think? Am I nuts? Should I not get it? I kind of feel like I want to take a look at folding phones. They've been around now long enough. Maybe they've perfected it. I don't know. Al in Upland, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Al.
Hi, Leo. Good to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.
I've been a listener for quite a while. I'm a 27-year veteran of the general telephone system.
Oh, my. How cool.
Back in the old days. Anyway, my wife and I had two Macs. She had a 21-inch, and I had a 27-inch, and with all kinds of storage and all that kind of nonsense. And also recently, we just decided, we do 90% of what we do on our telephones.
Yeah.
Our iPhones. And
you're not alone.
iPads.
Yeah.
And so I decided, we'll combine the two Macs and go down to a laptop, to a MacBook Air. And since it's got considerably less hard drive storage on it, I want to keep everything in the cloud. So I had all of my photos in Amazon. I have Amazon Prime, so
nice.
Amazon Photos.
That's free. Yep.
And so they're sitting up there. And now my question is this: when I get rid of that 27-inch Mac that has that footprint of those photographs on there, will they stay in Amazon?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're on Amazon permanently till you physically...
I don't have to put a footprint on the new computer or anything like that.
No, you can save that. And you might want to use a second choice. Remember, any one copy of anything, even if it's in somebody else's cloud, is not...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tertially back up.
Perfect.
I like to keep one in the air, and then I usually have a couple of discs that I rotate.
Al, I love you. Perfect. That's exactly right. You always want to have a local copy as well as a cloud copy. In fact, ideally, 3 copies would be the best. But
yes.
Good.
Yeah, so great.
And you can use Google Photos. That's free. A lot of photo services like Shutterfly offer free storage. iCloud is not cheap, but it's not super expensive either. And the advantage is if you import these before you get rid of your 27-inch, import all the photos into Apple's Photos app, and then turn on cloud syncing, let it sync up to iCloud. You'll also have a copy in iCloud. And then that's actually the best choice for your new MacBook Air, because there's a feature that says optimize storage in Apple's Photos.
Oh, yeah.
Then it doesn't download all the originals. It keeps the originals in iCloud, but you can see all of them in Photos. And if you ever want a full quality copy or you want to edit it, you just click it, it'll download it, and then you can work with it. So it doesn't use up space. Same thing with the phone. If you've seen that on the phone, they do the same thing on the computers. So it doesn't use up as much space, but you see all your photos, which I think is a nice feature.
So to put those into the cloud, the photos would have to be like on I've only got 512.
Yeah.
So I don't have enough for the photos on the new one.
But the old one you do. And so what I would do is open Apple's Photos, and import all of the photos you have on your iMac, import them into Photos, everybody's. Then go into Preferences. Now this might take a little time, but you're not getting rid of the 27, right?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are. Well, do this now before you get rid of it. Go into the Settings in Photos and turn on iCloud Photos. It'll automatically store everything in iCloud. And then the choice is to optimize Mac storage. There's two choices. You can keep the originals in your Mac, and you can on your 27 because you're going to wipe that, so you don't matter. But when you get your new MacBook Air, you log into your iCloud account, and then you say optimize storage. And the whole idea is it kind of streams. This is the future, right? We don't keep originals of anything on our computers. We don't need to waste that hard drive space. We stream it as needed. Apple Music works this way. Photos will work this way. You can see what you have. You can see thumbnails. And when you want the full quality, you just say, give me the full quality, and it downloads pretty quickly.
Exactly. Okay, if I take the photos and put them on an external drive and plug it into
you can do that too. Yep.
Laptop, can I do it that way?
Absolutely, and that way you can at your leisure import them.
Mac pretty soon.
Yeah,
I've got to get rid of the Mac pretty soon. So.
The only issue is if you've only got 512 gig storage on the MacBook Air, you're gonna have to do it a little bit at a time if you can't get all the photos on there. But you have them on the external drive, so you can import half of them and let it sync, and then import the other half.
I can import from the USB drive?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Okay, good. All right. Well, it's great talking to you.
My pleasure. It's a good question. This is something we're all dealing with these days. It's universal. And it started with the phone. I remember talking to people saying, I need a new iPhone. Why? I don't have any more room. All the photos, it's taken up the whole space. I got to get a new iPhone. Well, before you run out and buy a new iPhone, turn on the optimized storage, and you'll surprisingly get a lot more space. Now you have to buy iCloud storage. I do that. I think it's a couple of bucks a month for 50 terabytes or 50 gigabytes. Not a lot. Buy as much as you need. It's nice because then you got two copies in the cloud. You got the Amazon and you have the Apple. And I do Google too. You never know. It's good to have all of it. Why not have it all? Coming up, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, 5 decades writing for Mad Magazine. He's also, I'm very proud to say, our Gizmo guy. The GizWiz, Dick DeBartolo, just around the corner. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. Actually, as we wrap up the show, I'll remind you the website where everything is. It's free, techguylabs.com. No sign up. Turn the beat around. Oh, love to hear percussion. It's time for Dick DeBartolo, Mad's Disco Fool. He's Mad's maddest writer. I'm just looking at the October edition of Mad Magazine. This is one of the things I loved as a kid. You were always living in the future.
Yes.
This is the October 2020 edition of Mad Magazine. You have 3 in here.
3, count them, 3.
There's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle parody. There's the Hulk thing. A mad peek behind the scenes on the set of the Hulk, originally published in July 2003. Now Mad Magazine has become kind of an archive of old stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
And as a matter of fact, it's interesting because several people have emailed me that they're actually liking New Mad because it's bringing back so many memories.
I love this old stuff.
And also showing them things that hadn't bought that issue.
Yeah.
So it's not all, it's a good thing.
Bat Boy and Reuben looks like it's from the 20s. It looks so.
Yeah, that was one of the very
early. Yeah. Harvey
Back when it was a
Kurtzman.
comic book.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a comic book. Yeah. I was telling Dick just saw a great documentary called Comic Book Confidential. They talk a little bit about why Mad was founded because of the comic book code. Bill Gaines, the publisher, was famous for those creepy 50s horror magazines, and they basically eliminated them.
Yeah. Tales from the Crypt was...
Tales from the Crypt, yeah. So he said, what else can we do? And they decided to do Mad Magazine,
exactly.
which had staying power, I have to say. It's
my gosh.
Really the greatest, yeah. I grew up on it. Anyway, Dick joins us not to talk about the good old days, but although I make him do that sometimes, but more to talk about gizmos and gadgets. So we call him as
Well, I have a question for you before I do that.
Yeah.
Is we had a blackout here on a couple of days ago. And, Dennis came down and knocked on my door. He said, there are no lights. So I went out to the street. There were no street lights. There were no traffic lights. It was just black.
Yeah.
But the thing is, neither one of us could dial a number. We're just calling each other.
The phones were out.
We're out. But the thing is, aren't cell towers independent of everything?
Well, they ought to be. And a lot of times in blackouts, your cell phone will continue to work. And you would think, especially in a big city like New York, that they'd have generator backups, but apparently not. So if the power was out citywide, which it was a big blackout.
It was the everything from 72nd Street north was out.
Oh, okay. I thought Brooklyn went out too.
Okay. Let's see.
Just
the Upper West Side, the Upper East Side, and Harlem, all out.
All I care about is the Upper West Side, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay.
That's where I was born. That's where I live.
Oh, that's right.
That's where you live. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 blocks from here. I go to that shrine all the time. And
the little Leo shrine. Picture of me.
Leo shrine.
Yeah. Anyway, so the power went out. Yeah.
Power went out, and fortunately, it was only out for about 40 minutes, and it came back.
Thank goodness.
That part
still scary in the city. I remember the big blackout in 68, I think. 8? Yeah, that was terrible.
That was terrible.
That was several days, I think.
At least overnight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think it was a couple.
Yeah.
Very. Anyway, so I got a couple of emails 2 weeks ago. I said, "Oh, Leo, I bought another LED lamp that you'd be interested in, and I'll tell you next week." And I forgot. And 2 people said, "Where's that new lamp?" Okay, all right. So
I bought 4 of the last ones.
Yeah, I bought 2 of the last.
Yeah,
ones.
I love them.
And then, Amazon sent me an email, said, well, since you bought 2 of those.
You should buy 5 of these.
We thought you would like to know about this one from Bohon, Bohon. So it has all the same features. You can set it up for warm white, natural light, and cool white. And then when you're in any one of those 3 temperatures, you have 10 degrees of light and dark. So you have 30 different settings.
Man, I should have bought this instead.
All right. So I'll tell you the difference. The ones that we bought are very small. They roll up. If you want to take them somewhere, they can go in a backpack real easy. This new one that I also just bought is much bigger.
Good. Bigger's better.
The good thing about this is if you're using it to do some lighting, it has a 3.5-inch wide diameter head.
See, that's what I'm using them for. Not just reading, but lighting.
Yeah.
For Zoom conferences and stuff.
Yeah. Then you want this one because it's bigger, it's heavier, it has a bigger clip on it.
Oh, crap.
But it's not going to be easy to throw into a backpack.
I'm not backpacking with a lamp.
This one's only $20.
Oh, I'll buy 10 of them. All right, go ahead.
The other one was only $15.
I know. You're not going to give me another one next month, are you?
If I find one, I won't tell you about it.
I'm buying 2 of them from the Bohan Lighting Store. Is this going to take a year to get here? No, tomorrow.
No,
tomorrow.
2 days.
Yeah.
2 days. Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Great.
They said tomorrow I'll have it.
No, they're great. And the same as the other one. It comes with an AC adapter, but you can run it off your computer or plug it into.
I know. I like it that it has a USB
pack
on it. That makes it an clip, so you could use it on a laptop for your Zoom conferences and things. I think that's really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, you can just shine it down on the keyboard at night, and if you don't have a lighted keyboard.
Yeah. Data from the Federal Communications Commission says 874 cell phone towers were out during that blackout. So more than half the cell towers. Oh, wait a minute. In Marin County, that's a different one.
Oh, that's you.
That's me. I shouldn't read the chat room. I really shouldn't. But anyway, they do go out, apparently.
They do go
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I forgot to do is I should have run over and see if I could use my landline. In theory,
that would have worked if it's plugged into the wall. It's not plugged into the power. Yeah.
Yeah, it's plugged into the wall.
That would have worked back in the old days when we had regulations that required the phone company provide the power so you could call in the case of emergency and say, help, I need 10 sliders and a bucket of fries delivered pronto.
Right. No, last time during a blackout, I did use my landline, and I actually woke up the time lady.
I've been sleeping since 1972. What are you doing? What do you want? It hasn't.
She said, I'll make a deal. I'll tell you the time if you could tell me the year.
At the tone.
Dick's
website is gizwiz.biz. That's where you can go to find a link to this Bohan light. Actually, it's a pretty good deal. I just ordered 2 of them. Because, again, I'm looking for Zoom lighting, a little spot lighting here and stuff like that. Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. If you click the button that says the GizWiz Visits the Tech Guy, you'll see all the things he's mentioned on this show. But, he does ABC's World News Now, so there's a link there. He also has the What the Heck Is It game, a chance to win an autographed mat. I guess you'll be playing for the Wonder Woman.
You'll be playing for that. Yeah, Wonder Woman issue.
Nice. I get to put my hand where your autograph is. Wait a minute. This says John. This one's not for me. Never mind. I stole John's, apparently. All right. John, I got one for you, too. He's our studio manager. Thank you, Dickie D. Gizwiz.biz. Don't forget his great podcast, gizwiz.tv. And we will see you next week.
I'll be here.
Thank you to Professor Laura, our musical director. Well done. Thank you to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. You are the best. Thanks especially to all of you. I appreciate your listening, tuning in, calling in. It'd be kind of silly for me to do this all alone. So, I would just sit in my room and talk, but it's better if you're listening. So thank you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Take care of yourself. I'll be back next time. We'll talk more about Samsung. In the meanwhile, please have a safe Geek Week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.